Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Mayor Radyberg,
Here.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar,
Here.
Commissioner Darren Indovina.
Here. All right, we're here to talk about next year's budget. It looks like we're going to do some planning, so I'm just going to turn it over to you, Jeff.
Okay, very good. Let's make sure everybody's got everything because there's a lot of moving along. We've got an agenda that I'm put together. And then where's that, did you give, then you've got behind that a sample strategic plan. That's something that I did in Cameron, give you an idea. And then you have these two sheets, right? How many of, I know some of you have, how many have you seen these sheets before? Oh, you have it, where did you see it, Chief?
Leadership training.
Leadership training. What's that for?
We went to Quantico and they had.
And you saw these?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, they're ICMA deal. And then I have a strategic plan. It's called the 2024 Strategic Plan that was done by James Art, and I've looked at this and it's pretty good. And the department directors in particular, there's a lot of good stuff for them. The mayor alluded, the mayor talked about, yeah, we're getting in the budget. Well, he's right. This is a good exercise to begin the budget along with the art study, because I know the department directors here put a lot of time and effort into that. So I've got to move really quick to get this done, but it'll be fun. I enjoy it. I did it recently in Cameron, and I did it in St. James right before their budget, and anyway, I'm going to talk about the strategic, okay, it's not, I didn't put it in there, so you got to put it here. I got up early this morning and I had all this data with the time, and I worked on it and I lost it with my PC, and I had the times and everything. And so one of the things that is in this study, and I'd like, you should go back, I think we should talk about this a little bit, is the cities, before you do a strategic plan, you do a mission statement and a vision statement and then a mission statement. Okay, and that kind of drives your whole deal for your strategic plan. And one of the reasons, let me back up a little bit because I think it's important since we've got everybody here. This really, we've got two new people on the commission. And so part of this exercise is for them, because they are the ultimate ones that will come together, and what we're going to try to get out of this is 5 city goals. And you got a vision statement and mission statement, but 5 overall city goals. And then when you move into, that's objectives is how are you going to get to those goals. And then you even go even farther with action steps, projects that are attempting to get that. So, and we'll get into this, the commission sets the policy, and we'll talk, they have a role, and the department directors have a role, and we will get into that. So how many off the top of your head know your vision statement? You got it right there. It's something that should be, and we've got a communication, this is something that should be communicated to the citizens through open forum, to be a safe, progressive, vibrant, and thriving destination community for all generations and backgrounds, a place to put down roots. That is your vision statement, and the previous commission and department directors, you spent almost a day on that, didn't you? A day. So there's been a lot of work on that. A mission statement, this is how you're going to get to the vision. And I like this one. It was professionally provide superior city services and economic development. I noticed, and Ken and I had a discussion about economic development. Not every community wants economic development, and that's a lot of times we talk about in city government, that's where the rubber meets the road with city government, because you have those people that want to grow and those people that not my backyard or not whatever, particularly when you get into, and Ken and I don't want to, but he talked about, you know, to his knowledge, I'll share, you can share too, but he said he believes that the community wants economic development, and there's a lot of reasons why, while enhancing quality of life. So that's your mission statement. Now, this is a good document. I would encourage you who haven't to read this document and this goal setting session. And I'm a short timer, guys. You know, my role is to pave the way for the new person to come here. It's also my role as a city administrator to work with the commission, to keep the mayor and the commission, to keep them on the high plane, and so that the department directors can do their job. And so that's one of my roles, and a very important role for me as I move through the budget. The mayor, I know, said 2 or 3 times, well, we're into the budget, we got to get the budget going, and so we'll get the budget going, and I'll start working on that by using this session and this. So when I start meeting with department directors, I'll be referring that back there. Okay, now, I like Jim's, he did a very good job. And by the way, there's some organizational goals that are identified here from the organization, not the city goals, but the organization, what to do. There were, I believe there were 5, I think. Hit me, some of them. Housing. I was asking that question, wasn't I? I said, you know, is housing, I just made the statement from an economic development situation. If you want to grow, there's 2 things that's happening everywhere. I worked up in Lake of the Ozarks. I'm on a housing CDC. We're talking about that, whether or not it's demand or supply. But right now for economic development, it's housing, finding suitable housing, and also jobs, finding trained, capable people to do the work. And you just quickly made a statement that, and this beautiful community, but I was just taken back by the industrial base here. And I get up really early, and I go to Casey's at 4 o'clock, and I'm going, holy smokes, look at those, you know, that's the 3rd shift. And you made the statement they're having trouble finding those other shifts, those people. So those are the 2 things on economic development. But you had finance, and I've said this to the commission, I'm going to ramble a lot, so bear with me, but it's on my mind. If you don't have trust on the finance end, and if you aren't transparent on the finance end, you're in trouble. I just came from St. James. I was there 6 months. They didn't have trust on the finance end, didn't know where they were at. The community didn't know where they were at. And so those financial reports, the budget, everything, it'll help communicate to the citizens, but they have to trust. They have to trust, because once you lose that, you're in trouble. You're in the back. You all know this. Infrastructure, communications and planning, and HR. Those were some of the deals here. So highly recommend, if I'm going to be around for a while, that you look at that. But one of the things that Jim didn't do, he kind of alluded to in that report, he called for champions to kind of follow through on particular areas, but he didn't have measures. If you're going to have a strategic plan, you need to measure. And where is that sample? Here it is. This sample. I did this just as an example for the city of Cameron, which is it's a very similar community to you. I just said, here's an example of the strategic plan with goals, objectives, action steps, and possible measurements. When all this measurement and performance stuff, I was an assistant city manager in Kansas City, and it was a hot topic in the 90s, and we had the new manager was doing the whole deal. Then when I went to Cape Girardeau as an operations manager, I started doing these measures. And you know what I found out is, especially for a young tyke, you can develop so many dadgum measures that pretty soon you're spending all your time doing your measures and doing your reports and not hitting your mission and your visions and your protecting your people. So my philosophy is this philosophy, that you should, department directors, and what come up with, just come up with three measures that the manager can evaluate you, how your department, how you're meeting your goals, vision, mission, all that stuff. Come up with 3 simple goals that's easily communicated to the public, that for example, the street department. I had some from the street department. You've had some, and there's benchmarks too that you can use. For example, this was a hot issue in St. James. How many people do you need per acre for a park? Do you know? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but supposedly it's one person, per 65 acres. I don't know if that's right. That may or may not. And we all know that every community is different, but those are benchmarks to kind of measure, your staff, and you've got that too. You benchmark all the time with other communities, don't you, Chief? I mean, how many do they have? What do they need? How many?
National standards.
Yeah, national standards. But then how you're doing on your strategic plan, come up with 3 basic goals. I think I had, HR was a hot one in Cameron. It seems to be annual employee turnover. I mean, that's one. How often do you do it? Biannually. I asked when I walked in the door, I said, I asked Ken this, because I had a tour with him and tour with Darren, and I'm going to have a tour with you and share things. I said, does the city have a economic development plan? I mean, what are your values? And usually, particularly in the industrial area, is if you're going to provide incentives, and the state does this, because if they're going to give you a grant, how many jobs is it going to create, and what's their investment? And then if the commission says, we want this, we will provide this particular type of incentive if it provides this, There may be some particular other issues. I know right now in my short time of being here is a hotel is on the, because we're in need for additional. So anyway, I've rambled around. Okay, so I did that one, right? Kelly, do you know how to turn that? I think these are on there. Is it in the, yeah, I think it's in the thumb drive. She's gonna help me do this. I'm doing pretty good. But you got this, right? This was just a sample of a strategic plan. You have a city strategic plan, and then you have organizational plan. And one thing I found is let's come measure it, measure it annually, so that you as a communication, because how are we doing to that citizen out there? How well do we can't do this particular job because of what? How are we doing? And there are, benchmarks that other cities do. I don't know if you can find it, but okay, all right. But you got it in front of you, so I did that one. I'm moving right along, and then we're going to get into the other stuff. So let's turn to this. Maybe it'll come up there and maybe it won't. I don't know. Doesn't make any difference. But you've got this, right? This I think this came and commission, to their credit. Darren, you went to the newly elected officials conference, didn't you?
Correct.
And Randy, Mayor, you went to the newly elected, and the Labar group, Joe Labar did this particular thing. And the proper role of the governing body. And who's the governing body? These three gentlemen right here are the governing body. And I told this because I've been in other communities. We don't badmouth you all, we're here to serve once they do their vote. And I've told, I'm not doing, what have I communicated to you three? One of the things that I've communicated, I've communicated, I treat you equally. I'm not going to show any personally partisan, that's not professional. My role is to properly frame it in a method to bring you, and I know you and I briefly talked about that. That gets into the agenda and how you prepare an agenda. Staff, I believe staff needs to study the issue, then make a recommendation. We make a recommendation. They discuss it from a policy end, and then they vote on it, and we go down the road. Because I believe that is the American way. You are the elected officials, and God bless the fact that we have you here. So that's that role. So on that one sheet, you can look at it. Organization survey to promote continuous improvement. This is an ideal council. Governance expectations guide all levels. Strategic plan guides levels 2, 3, 2, and 1. So then you move down to 11, you're going to get into issues like a liquor license or a business license or what. That's where a lot of councils focus on those issues and dealing with their constituents. That's where most of them at, but hopefully your manager will keep you up in that plane. When we get into the budget, one of the key things, and I noticed in the strategic plan, it called for financial planning, 5-year financial planning. Whoever comes in with new finance needs to look out ahead, make certain assumptions, and what's the number one thing that council guides that, and I haven't had time to look at it, I want to hear the audit, but is fund balance. Is how much fund, it's just like in your own home, how much fund balance should you have in the future? And the financial advisors generally say 3 months operating, 3 months operating less capital. That's how much fund balance you should have. And if they're up on that high plane asking those questions, what's that, the impact of our fund balance? You know, anyway. And obviously, but where bad councils operate, commissions, they get into the day-to-day operation focus. They're down in the trenches. I've had lots of stories I could tell you about in Port Scott, and you know, I'm sorry, I just flashbacks and I think of these things and Pete Allen and Ford. Anyway, I'm sorry. So that's that. And then another analogy, and then I'm done with this, and then we're going to get into it. I know I've talked. Is there? The next page is the council and staff flight analogy. We're moving this plane down the run, you know, coming in, and the council's up here looking at the vision, the strategic goals, setting priorities, planning and oversight, and then you got to hit the ground running with that airplane. You got to make it happen, and that's where your projects and your day-to-day operations, and that's where, and I was really impressed that you all in your mission statement talked about professional staff. And just as a side note, this is a well-run city. I mean, just that's you know, a guy coming in. You've had some pioneers and directions, and I'm not used to the commission form. My gut as a city manager said, man, this must be a city manager city, you know. But your streets are, I bragged about you. I bragged about your department. I said that guy's done some good, didn't I? Mm-hmm. I said that guy's done some good stuff. You've done some good stuff, man. Some innovative stuff too that you've done. I saw the solar stop sign. That's pretty. Anyway, and I went out to your treatment plant. That was a clean treatment plant, and so you've got some great staff. I haven't been to your place yet, and I haven't been to fire, but okay. So that's from my CMA. I'm not bad, okay? It lasts a little bit more. So we're on track. Now, any questions before we hit this deal? What's the purpose of this? What's the purpose of this meeting here, Chief?
Well, hopefully, we're talking about organizational citywide goals for the entire city for the next, at least next fiscal year, next operating year, or possibly long range.
You got it. And who's going to make that decision?
Ultimately, that's the council making that decision that we follow.
The council's going, so we're going to, the goal of this is to, and we're going to start out with the council, and what I've asked, I mentioned this, I hope I mentioned it to the commission, is come up with 3 goals, citywide goals. I asked that at a department director meeting, right? And so what we're going to do, we're going to start out with the commission, and we're going to, okay, and hopefully I've outlined what's a goal and what we're trying to do. It's not, a lot of times I told you, go to a police department and they say, and the guy wants, you guys are right. Well, we need a new such that. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. You've already addressed that in your other, in this deal. That's not it. It's city goals. And then we aren't going, the commission isn't going to vote today. You're going to look at it, talk about it, say, and I hope that you come up with 4 or 5, just you know, 4 or 5 goals, city goals. You're gonna look at the deal and say, yep, that's what we agree on, and you're gonna have a dialogue and nope, why would we do that? And then aren't gonna vote on it, but then at a future commission meeting, we'll put a resolution together saying these are the 5, not ranked necessarily, but 5 city goals, and then that'll give us the direction so we can move into the budget. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you want to take a break? You want to get a cup of coffee, or you ready to hit it?
Let's keep going.
Okay, here we go. All right. Kelly's great. She told me she's got great handwriting, and I don't have good handwriting. So she's going, and we're going to.
May I write it on the paper?
Let's do those, and then tear them off and put them on the thing. And I got the okay from. They said okay. You know, I'm not gonna. Okay, we're gonna do that. You got tape, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. This is your city. As the old boy said, city manager, it's their city. It's your city. Beautiful city. So, 3 goals. Anybody can start.
Development of a 20-year comprehensive plan.
Pardon?
Develop a 20-year comprehensive plan.
City comprehensive plan.
Yes.
Okay, that's a goal. Okay, because it's been 30 years or something since you did.
It's close to that.
Yeah, okay. Make it big. You might want to use black.
Use black?
Yeah, because so everybody can see it, including the television audience, whoever they may be.
Now, we can get into this later, but in that comprehensive plan, that includes, you know, economic development, revitalizing downtown. Everyone may not agree on that, but the housing is certainly a part of it. We don't have to put that up there, but my thoughts are we need to do the housing sooner rather than later. We don't have to wait for a 20-year comprehensive plan.
So from a broad standpoint, complete the comprehensive plan.
Yes.
Very good. And you all know there's a legal reason why you do that.
Yes.
The idea if because your plan and this plan is not the commission's, it's the planning and zoning's plan. They develop it. That is their plan, and then when you get into a rezoning or whatever, your staff looks at that and says, how does that fit into the comprehensive plan? And the problem you run into, if ever you get a big-time hotshot developer with lots of bucks, you know, comes in here and you turn them down, and then what are they going to talk? And they take you to circuit court. That's the first deal. They're going to say, did you follow your comprehensive plan? And if you didn't follow, or you don't have a good comprehensive plan, you're opening yourself up to a lawsuit, to, you know, which you don't want to spend. So, very good. However you want to do it.
The only other thing I had is change the city government, but I think that's up here at the council level. So.
Just put, you want it in a, just exactly what he said. I'm not gonna, I'll wordsmith later on. Anything else, Mayor?
No, it includes everything.
Okay.
Modernize the employee compensation structure.
Okay. So.
We don't have thorough, complete job descriptions, pay ranges, promotion paths,
So,
merit-based
So it's-
increases.
modernize the HR.
I wouldn't call it HR. I
Call
wouldn't
it-
go that far. It's specifically the
Employee.
employee compensation.
Okay,
Yeah.
just write it down exactly like he says it, and then we'll do others, or you-
I've got tasks. We're working diligently on flooding and airport improvements and roads improvements, but
that
would
would,
definitely fall underneath that comprehensive plan of the future because that's all tasks to help along the way.
is it infrastructure?
Yeah, infrastructure is a good word to define it all.
All right, write down the infrastructure. You got more, guys? Go ahead, dive in there. And
I
then
like to say,
Well, hang on, what we're gonna do, we're gonna do the council
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry.
That's all right, then we'll do the departments, and we'll do the same exercise, okay?
So while the mayor says about the comp plan, which I completely agree with, I would like to see a more, I'll say, aggressive strategy in the next 12 to 18 months related to housing.
Housing, aggressive housing strategy,
Yeah.
That's good.
okay? Darren, you have some more?
Employee tenure, I agree with talking about the desired movement of having people work for the city with a fair budget, fair wage to ensure that we keep people tenured. That's a big one to me.
How did you word yours, Ken? I had cataract surgery, and what's it say?
This one,
Uh-huh.
modernize the employee compensation structure.
Okay. Under upgrade wage and benefit,
Yeah,
upgrade
That's
wage,
that's what I'm
Yeah.
referring to.
put a bracket of upgrade wage and employee wage and benefit. Structure, I'll put a structure. There's another word, it's not coming to me, but it's an HR benefit, or it's a study, it's an employee wage and benefit survey and implementation.
That's ongoing.
Yeah, survey and implementation. And your point is, it never ends. It always continues.
Yeah,
You have to,
I'd
go
like to
ahead.
see citizen surveys.
Citizen surveys?
we're talking about, Yeah.
Okay,
You know, they could be brief, short.
Okay, write down
a few times a
citizen-
year.
citizen survey.
Instead of one big survey for an annual basis, you could do a few on just general ideas, some questions seasonally, something that we get input from the citizens, and what they would like to see us do.
Can we
So
put,
we could have the input from the citizens to
could we
tell
put
us how to.
citizen input / surveys?
Yeah,
Could you write that?
that would be fine, but I would like to see something like that. Brief surveys, nothing
Yeah,
long,
yeah.
nothing drawn out to
Yeah.
make them get tired of doing it after 5 pages
Yeah.
in. This is like a 5-question survey that could come out 2, 3, 4 times a year in a utility bill or something, or online.
Yeah.
And they can give us directions
Does
depending
your
on.
utility bills allow for messaging?
Yeah.
Some, it does? Good deal. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to upgrade the playground equipment at South Park.
So could we put park, I'm trying to,
You want more broad?
yes, sir.
Okay.
So continued park improvements?
Well,
Or-
yeah, I was approaching this
Okay.
more in the next 12 to 18 months, but if we're looking more
Well,
broad.
that's fine. And we'll put a bracket under there.
Okay.
Put a bracket, and then we'll put a bracket under
improvements.
there to mention it specifically.
Yeah.
So
So-
did you get that, Kelly?
Park improvements.
Parks improvements and then / upgraded playground equipment, or, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's I can't remember, it's on both of them, isn't it? When we took that tour.
Yeah, the North Park playground equipment is a much smaller scale than South Park.
Yeah.
South Park is the primary focus.
Yeah, okay. You guys are on a roll.
Keep the police, fire, streets department, apparatuses updated, continuously repair or replace on a regular basis as needed.
How about, oh, we had this in another one, I get flashbacks. I don't want to speak for you, but how about, well, for now, let's just put equipment replacement plan. Implementation plan. Equipment, and if I'm not saying it, you stop me, right? But equipment, replacement, implementation plan.
Upgrades because they're used heavily in all
Yeah,
departments.
if he says that, put upgrades.
Yeah, from the police to fire, streets, golf
Yeah.
course, airport,
Yeah,
they use all their machinery
yeah,
and apparatus
yeah,
way too often.
yeah, good,
They're using it as we speak,
yeah,
and
good,
it has to be maintained. And
good.
So do you want upgrade,
Pardon?
equipment upgrades?
Plan and, plan and upgrades. Planned
City
upgrades,
equipment.
planned upgrades. Okay, good.
Another near-term goal, which you might want to put in brackets, is TIF 3. Get TIF 3. TIF 3.
TIF,
TIF 3.
TIF 3.
All
TIF
right,
3.
that's a
Yeah,
near-term goal.
TIF 3. And that, TIF, just put down TIF 3. It's economic development, TIF 3.
Yeah, I think it's a bracketed.
Bracket project, yes, sir.
underneath the top one,
Under this one?
yeah.
Put economic development, brackets, TIF 3. Okay? How are you guys doing? Got more?
I want to add, enhance the partnerships with the Chamber of Commerce and Monett Main Street, other civic organizations.
Okay, I'm going to try to better, say it again.
Enhance the partnerships with the Chamber of
Enhance
Commerce.
partnerships, bracket, Chamber, Main Street. Okay. Good, hey buddy, oh, you're going to do it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you just put it over there. I was gonna have the guy do it because he's very particular about getting that, messing it up. Okay, that's good.
Oh, they're
Okay,
posted.
yeah, good.
John posted. That's even better.
Are we listing them specifically?
Yes, put brackets, Chamber, Main Street.
Yeah.
That's what their particular, their, which is, okay. Anything else, commissioners?
Improve, excuse me, improve financial planning.
Improve financial planning, okay? Improve financial planning, okay? Okay. Darren, do you have anything else, or you done?
Again, task, I'd love to get the truck route off of Kyler, personally. It runs through a school district. In between-
Relocate truck route,
Relocate truck route.
okay? Okay. Anything else? Yeah, you're supposed to have 3, but you guys are the boss.
I have a long list.
There you go. Well, and some of those will come out. Well, any more? City goals.
I'd like to have a person, I'm sorry to interrupt, a grant writer, who could help us out at City Hall with a lot of our capital improvements
Okay,
moving forward.
write down grant.
Well, and I think that function goes along with what I was just going to add, is improving our economic development position. Meaning,
Yes.
we have a consultant, we don't have anybody in-house.
Right.
And I feel that we should have somebody
How about
in-house.
improved economic development implementation, or implementation?
However.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying.
No, I agree.
I mean, that's, improve economic development implementation. Okay, I'm hearing,
Yeah, but that goes along with grant writing.
yes, yes, okay. Mayor, do you have any more?
Nope, we've covered it all.
Darren, or you have any more?
I'm good as we are.
I have more, but I'll stop.
You'll stop? Okay, well, okay, that's, okay. Let's take a break. It is 10 till 9. Okay. 15 minutes, thank you. All right, we got, okay, we're gonna move into the, that's fine, and then you got this one. Okay, any questions? I took 20 minutes. Any questions on anything that I communicated? Goals, this strategic plan, measuring? Got department directors, anything? Okay, you'll get up to speed
Yeah,
on it.
I'll listen and
This is,
catch up.
so we're moving right along, and I got a feeling we're gonna be done. You're awful, maybe I'm doing too much talking, but you're awful quiet. So it's time for the department directors to do the same exercise. And for the new guy that got here, these are city goals. City goals. They are not department goals or organization, they're city goals based upon the mission and the vision and all of that. Okay? So we're gonna go through the department directors, and I'll try to keep my mouth shut. I'm kind of a talker. So go ahead. And go ahead. How long have you been here in the community?
In the community, 5 years.
Good deal.
With the city since March.
Good deal. Okay, good deal.
So I had under employee recruitment and retention, continuing to foster a positive work environment.
Okay, positive. Got it, positive in hand. You're positive organizational / employee work environment. Does that do it?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead. You get 3.
Let her write and jump into the next one. And then I had promote economic development through our community partners, Monett Main Street, Chamber of Commerce.
Promote economic development through community partners.
And then find creative solutions for our housing needs.
Through what?
Through community
Solve
partnerships.
housing need problem. Does that work?
Yep,
I'm trying to verify.
perfect.
As she's writing that, I'm gonna go back and forth, maybe get some more interaction. Chief?
Sure.
What was her last name?
You wrote it down.
You gotta make
Housing.
it.
Copy that part.
She's still writing housing?
Yes,
It was
solve housing.
solve housing issues.
So, my first one really kind of goes along with his, just really looking at improving employee benefits overall. They can decide what that looks like, and that really focuses on getting and retaining qualified employees to do the work and carry out the vision of the council.
That's fine. Improve employee benefits. We'll
Correct, yeah,
just put
just
that.
general, yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I want there. They can decide what that looks like.
Yeah.
My second one, by the way, I pulled all my staff, and these were 12 results I got back. So this isn't George Dowd's input, this is the police department's overall observations that they saw. Next one is neighborhood revitalization. They see a need for that for the community. If you want to get into stuff, it can be things about making sure our landlord-tenant agreements are going well, that they have clean, available housing to them, make sure that the parks are up to speed in all the areas that they have access to, for people who don't have the resources to bring their equipment there, providing something to them temporarily, maybe at a city cost, different things they can do with that. And then my last one that we saw a need for was increasing entertainment options for adults and children in the community.
Increase community entertainment options.
Correct.
We're doing okay. Are you doing okay? You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, that helped. Very good. Let's go to the fire chief now.
You should never go to the police chief before the fire chief.
But you knew that I.
If I told my employees, they would be out like, right.
I've been dealing with you guys for a while.
Pretty much, on Georgia's first one there, the employee benefits, just the, wages and benefits for emergency services in the city, improve on that. And being kind of along the
Does that include wages?
wages and benefits, yes.
Improve employee wage / benefits.
Yeah.
Okay?
And, we've been hitting on that pretty hard. That's a big one for us as far as recruitment and retaining. Also to develop emergency service, especially on our side, I guess, again on that, but
Is that,
professional training.
okay, improve, I want to say, public safety training?
Yeah.
Okay, improve public safety training.
Which would go along with the strategic planning stuff. Also, that would have been my third one. But, included in the strategic planning is the training facility for police and fire, so that would cover that.
Training facility,
Yeah.
you don't have,
No, sir, we don't. No goal.
okay, just bracket, training, public safety training facility bracket. Okay,
Probably facilities.
Phil-
We'd have to do something.
okay,
combined.
facilities,
Separate.
okay. Very good. Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The airport manager.
Well, some of mine were stolen, but some of mine were stolen. I'd say the first one would be have a collective IT, well, we don't have a department here, but some sort of like IT management or staff, just have something to where it's more manageable.
So do you want better IT management
Yes. Like some
Okay.
sort of management structure.
or?
Which
Or
I know
you
is kind of a
specifically, do you
department
want-
thing, but also.
Okay, put a bracket, explore, city IT manager or something.
Something for that.
All right, okay.
Then the next,
Explore city IT
city IT.
manager.
And then the other one I had was kind of goes into the employee, which was like employee readiness for promotion. So,
City employee succession plan. Is that it?
Amen,
Yeah.
brother.
Huh? Okay, cities, employee succession.
I stole Aaron's.
No, I don't have that.
And then the last one I just had was community engagement with the community, within either the city or the department.
Community communication / engagement. Is that okay? Okay. Where are we over here? Oh, Skip, how are you?
Doing good.
Good. It's your turn.
I don't know if I got a lot to add to what's already been put up there. Just maybe I know when they were talking about infrastructure, they were talking about everything but utilities. I would say utilities would be a part of that infrastructure. And I'm thinking more about, 15, 20 years into the future with utilities, because if we don't have utilities, the growth don't come. If we don't have the water, we can't treat the sewer because we get a big.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
big industry.
Main,
In an industrial town, we tend to, got our sewer plant down there, I think is equivalently sized for like a 50,000 person city, because of the amount of industry.
Yeah,
So it's,
yeah.
there's a lot of, and we kick the can down the road quite a bit on electric and some other things that, we got a lot of big money things coming here just so we can be ahead of the growth. And I think that's, I guess, kind of a city goal, but it affects everything in the city. If we can't provide it, then they're gonna go somewhere else.
yeah. I'll make a stab at it.
Like I say, it's kind of the end of
Maintain.
the infrastructure.
Plan and improve utility infrastructure. Did that do it?
Yep, I guess that's kind of a addendum to infrastructure.
Yeah, okay. But we got utility, which, that's what I like about this stuff is you can see how they all fit together. If you got economic development, you gotta have utilities and.
Yeah, and it's part of economic development.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
There's quite a bit of giveaway, I say giveaway, but we provide, in order for people to come in here, whether it's build all of it out for electric or, we build water and sewer to a property line for somebody that, we do what we need to do on things that help grow Monett.
Yeah. And that's another one that hits into finance, Go ahead. Any more?
No, that's it.
That's it? Okay, very good. Who's over here?
I'm representing Boca because he's not here today, he's at a conference.
Yeah.
And he gave me some areas of concern.
Go ahead,
if I
let's,
can read
yeah,
them.
thank you.
He's an intern, he's been in the position for about 3 months.
Yes.
And he wanted to make some information brought to light. He wants to work with police department and organizations to help with homelessness and blight of homes inside the city limits where people congregate. And he wants to work with, to help with the homeless and have them moved and help them retain, I guess, better support to the community instead of just being a blight. And he wants to work with police and other organizations to help with that. And he can improve the housing that they currently are, residing in certain areas of the city. And he can improve on that so we wouldn't have so many issues and complaints and fires and, stolen properties and things like that. Also,
Hey, hang on just a second, because I
okay, yeah.
gotta.
But he wants to work and help with the homeless living in areas of the city and like in condemned buildings or empty structures,
How about,
squatting and things like that.
I'm gonna try something here. Enhance homeless resource.
Yeah.
Enhance
And we have
homeless resource.
a great organization in town.
That's a broad goal, but that.
Well, it is.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, what was his other thing?
He knows of some properties owned by city that are in residential areas that could be sold from the city to a developer or a builder or something to put housing. So it would eliminate a small chunk of enough housing in the city. So he knows of, by knowing his GIS map very well, he knows of some areas that are in residential that are city owned and the city should make a movement forward to a developer or just sell it outright to a property owner who wants to construct.
Review city property inventory.
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
Yeah. That's, okay. What else?
Better enforcement of permits and penalties. We have a few people who, well, he says, there's people who go in and say, that's not how we did it before. I would never have to buy a permit to do something. They come to town, do some construction of some nature, a roof, I just used an example, and then leave town. They're not permitted to build in town because they don't go through the proper channels and get the proper permits, and then they don't call for the final inspection on certain construction projects, and they just leave the project, and he has to eventually go through files and say, this one's overdue, we have to inspect it, and we've already got occupancy, and it's never been approved, and things like that are happening. So better enforcement of permits and penalties to people who come to town or in town and do construction projects without the proper permits.
Review and enhance building permit process.
Yeah, the process of
Building
buying and the penalties of people who don't
Yeah.
get permits.
Put a bracket, enforce fine review. I mean, is he asking that those be increased or those be implemented or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay,
Right.
all right, okay. Okay, very good. That answers
And that came from my BOCA department,
okay,
building and
well,
zoning.
good. Are we under BOCA codes or uniform codes? Anybody know, fire? Are we BOCA or chief, fire chief? Are we BOCA or are we uniform codes?
It's I think it's the uniform code.
Uniform codes?
I believe that's right. It was the 2018, 2021 standard.
Yeah.
2018 standard.
18? Okay. Our lovely HR director is going to share her city goals.
Enhance and cultivate relationships, partnerships, and community perceptions.
Write it exactly the way she said it. No, no.
That's good.
Enhance and cultivate
There's two things in there.
relationships, partnerships, and community perception. Perception? Perceptions. Increase public involvement. Transparency. And enhance cultural diversity. And perform at the highest levels of operational excellence.
What was that again?
Perform at the highest level of operational excellence.
Done?
My number one thing would be the traffic, get a committee, look at the traffic, how it flows through the city. A lot of times we have green lights going both ways. If we had a yellow flashing light for left turn, it would relieve a lot of traffic. So That's one of them.
enhance,
You've been talking
Traffic.
to Darren, haven't you?
No, it's just that I drive to work here every day and I see the problems. It's almost impossible to get from the north side of town to the south side of town at lunch because the traffic's all backed up.
enhance, traffic efficiencies. Does that make sense? Or- Okay, go ahead.
Also, to keep everything in-house as much as we can, to use the infrastructures of all your departments to try to lower the cost of the cities, economic.
Coordinate better department efficiencies? Is that what
Well,
you're-
for, in his area, the mechanic shop area, don't send out vehicles or equipment to be repaired, keep it in-house, right? Be more efficient internally and
Yes.
more cost-effective.
Try to keep it all in-house that we can. Today, most of your truck shops and everything else range, John Deere, I think is $150 an hour to $225.
Yeah.
So if we can keep more in-house, we can have a substantial savings.
Yeah, so it's more like just increasing in-house maintenance opportunities.
How about review and enhance internal efficient? I'm not doing it very good. Help me out.
I think what you're saying is just do more
Yeah.
in-house, right? So
Yes,
it's not
yes.
so much
Let's keep-
enhancing,
Extra
it's more
contract labor outside.
increasing
Increase,
mechanical repairs in-house.
okay, we'll just be specific, mechanical in there. Okay, very good. You got another one?
Going back to the employee benefits, they've already covered a lot of what I was wanting to say, but I don't know if it's possible or not, but paying weekly salaries to the employees would alleviate a lot of the problems we have with the lower paid employees on their day-to-day bills and stuff like that.
Review weekly
And it would help keep,
wage.
also, it would help keep the employees in the city.
Did I do that right?
Review.
Weekly payroll possibility.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good. Okay, did I get everybody?
I had one other thing I've been thinking about after going through this, is it seems like we probably should have a goal of I'm not sure how to put this, but to kind of grow the city limits outward, and when we have opportunities to either acquire or do things to help the city grow, we should. I look around the city now and there's 2 or 3 people that block up a lot of ground around us, and if we're not aggressive when the opportunities come along to grow the city and these folks buy it up,
Yep.
then it's almost
Yep.
like a bear trap sitting
Yep.
around the edge
Yep.
of the town with high-priced ground that, that.
How about review annexation potential?
There you go.
I got one.
Good job.
Okay, all right. Then, all right, now here's what we're gonna do. Kelly and I are going to, it'll take us a little time. We're gonna break and we're going to take these and consolidate, there's some duplication and whatever, and we're gonna put them up onto the deal. It's gotta get it organized, and then we'll come up with a list, okay, for everybody. And then what we're gonna do, you've done this before. you've done it. Everybody's done the dot deal. Department directors get purple, and council gets these little cupcakes. You like it? Now, I got choices. I went out to
Cupcakes are fine.
Cupcake, all right, okay. Well, anyway, now I could go to yellow or whatever, but I went out to Dollar Tree and I picked out these cupcakes thinking what was the Halloween deal. So now, when you do that, you're going to get, let's see. I got 5 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Department directors, because it's easy this way. You're getting these. You can rank them any way. If you think this is the most important thing, you take your 3 dots, 5 dots. You got 5 dots. You put them up there. Okay. You know, this number 1. That's the most important deal. All my 5 dots. Or you can spread them around or whatever. Then. Same thing with the commission that they're going to put in. Then we're going to sit and look at them. Okay? So we can see if there's any difference between departments and council. Okay, but you got to give me. It's 9:30. I'm doing this, but I've got to Kelly and I are going to reword.
And how long do you need? Jim?
I need 20 minutes. I'm sorry.
All right, fine. All right.
So take a break. Why don't you move that over there closer? In fact, they can't see it. I need some scissors.
Thank you, sir.
Couldn't find turkeys.
I need 10 of them. Make it priority.
Yeah.
Do I get 6? Or
You
am I
get
supposed to have-
6.
I get 6.
Yeah, you get 6.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys get 6. Because I don't want to take these home.
On my shirt.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Okay, now, what you got, everybody has this tendency, and I'm not, and you're, give Darren 6. And, everybody has this tendency, so, and Ken's one of the, he's got a unique personality. They all 3 have unique personalities. They're good people. Their heart's all in the right place. I mean that. But you have a tendency to and we'll wordsmith this. You know, on the goals, we'll wordsmith it. In fact, probably what I'll do is give you a report, just like I did Cameron and St. James. So this is a real simple exercise. The department directors get, who's there? Oh,
Skip.
Skip's working. It's your city, I don't get to play. Thanks.
These were purple.
Okay? They're purple, I don't know. Because I've been carrying them along. All right, you know the idea?
Yes.
The idea is you've got department directors have 5, council commissions have 6. They can take all their 6, you can take all your 5 and put it up on the big deal. You know, you can spread them all over. And then I'm going to try to incorporate this. We made it kind of simple here, but we've tried to get change of government here, right? Okay, all right. So we organize them. We put them into broader goals. Tried to. Okay. Keep in mind, I'm going to wordsmith it, you know, and make it. Because everybody has a tendency to do objectives. Let's go get it done. or yeah, objectives to implement. And then you carry it even farther into task, for the upcoming year. That's your strategic plan. You've got an excellent organizational strategic plan that when I meet with you on the budget, we'll do that. What are we trying to accomplish? But we're trying to get broad goals. We've got city organizational efficiency and effectiveness that deals with the organization. We've got financial planning, because and obviously some of these categories they hit others. You guys think about that, well, it hits 3 or 4. Human resource, big deal for you all. And that's come up in every community. How are we doing in recruiting? Pretty good? Are you doing okay?
Hit and miss. We have 4 openings right now. One has a lot of applicants, and then the rest of them, we're struggling to get 3, so we have competition.
Are you okay in fire? Or-
We have one opening right now that we're trying to fill. We're doing
Yeah.
pretty decent for a short period on
where'd my
applications.
street guy go? He got left?
Funeral.
He had a funeral go
Oh,
to.
he had a funeral. Okay. Okay. Well, he's a big player. Human resources, then I had community, communication, and marketing. And I put all these categories underneath. Then I had a change of government. That's kind of a separate deal.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put in, I guess, we almost had it under the comp plan. Well, in fact, I've got these I can eat.
Well, that's really a ballot issue.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think we need to spend much time on that
Okay,
there.
okay, I appreciate that.
One thing I would like to add to economic development is airport expansion.
Is what?
Airport expansion, because we just had it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, put that was good. I didn't put that on. Is that your ringtone?
Oh, I'm having trouble, aren't I? It's taken over my life.
Take a nap.
It is, cancel.
You may try.
Just a second. It's going to a game.
You're good at typing.
No. Not at all.
I think
I'm done. Yeah. But, no, there's another one. It's I'm trying to, I lost 40 pounds. There it goes. And I do intermittent fasting, but I've gained some back, and I can eat now. But you saw how I cheated, so anyway.
Have another muffin.
Okay, yeah, have another muffin. Okay, economic development, infrastructure, had some of that traffic stuff in infrastructure. The city comp plan, we added the annexation potential. That's kind of a comp plan issue. Housing, and I've got all those categories under housing, change of government, city organizational, financial planning, human resources, which got into, I used it, I know, but, there's tasks there, each benefits, all that, and then communications and marketing and change of government. So you can, and feel free if you want, because we've got all the others incorporated. If that's the most important, you can put your dot on one of those little ones, but it's kind of grouped, or you can put it, you can put your dots on human resources, but it means all those things. It's up to you. So, go play.
One at a time or all at once?
Huh? All of you.
Oh, yeah, everybody just jump.
Just get up there and put your deal. Usually I got more of the, spread around, but.
I said I was gonna do like a $5 trade.
Mine too for that one.
Done.
See, they used to have this thing where you
So they do this electronically, we can all just open it up, log into the thing, and then we just proceed with it. Got it all cleaned up.
You should go work at Dairy Queen.
Nobody can. You gotta get the smart pen that do this, so it tells you. Yeah, they have.
Yeah, it was like a water heater, gas leak or something.
There's $6 I can flip a pen, so right now it's like, I don't know, I don't have one. If you have that guy, I guarantee if he knows about it.
Doesn't come back up.
Or the IT guy.
Big deal.
She always, even
Back up in the drain.
I'm not so worried, I'm just, she just,
Board of Health shut you down.
I don't even care. If you get the spirit of what we're saying, we're good. I'm not here to be, I'm an English professional.
when she was typing in and she got smart, and they just got lost.
Yes, yes.
I
Yep.
was like, that's great.
Yeah. We've had some worse happen.
Probably before you complain, you had to find like stickers or whatever.
I could put two on one.
I know, I said before anyone blames me, I said I guess there were stickers over there. It's like, I have it in my phone.
Pretty good.
Put one there.
Jesse. Oh, Jesse. Oh, Jesse, you mean, yeah.
Here.
Yeah. He does practice there.
Man, you can do a lot with 6 cupcakes.
It's a variety of things. Well, and there's the triage, and there's truly fixing things, and there's a lot of, and then when you need triage,
Still missing Ken's work.
I'll be
He
back
had
in
to
a
take a
minute.
walk.
Oh, just kicking a can. See, that's
So is the city sponsoring this?
The air.
It's one thing if
The airport is sponsoring it?
yeah.
How much money is this?
Yeah.
done today.
I remember
500, I think.
Okay.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
Kelly, let's move those to this, over here so everybody can see them better. Thank you. You're so good. Yeah. Can you, what?
Ken still needs to put his head away. He'll be back.
Ken? Oh, okay.
So Jim, right now, we're on number 4 on the
Jeff.
agenda?
Jeff.
Okay.
We're,
Because then we got to prioritize.
yeah, you guys.
Okay.
I can't drive
Oh, wow, that's interesting. 1, 2, Ken hadn't done his, or did he?
Not yet.
Okay, well, we gotta wait for Ken. Okay, we gotta wait for Ken. Oh,
Yeah, that's a good.
Ken had a phone call with me, so.
Someone cares about the change of.
Well, it really is, like you said. Well, it's kind of like the comp plan is important, trust me, I get that. It's just, we have a current one we're working on. Computers, this is only so many choices.
Yeah, and then knowing, I know we
Really, once you vote on that or that, it's done. So it really doesn't matter. Put a sticker, don't put a sticker, you gotta have it. Put a water, put not hold it.
So are we doing lunch out here today or no?
Yeah,
We are.
but we're gonna have a break. I imagine we'll be done.
I think so.
What time is the auditor plan to be here?
He said he'll be here about 12:30, and then that way he's on time to start at 1.
Over here.
We're hiding. I guess I should have been present.
You know the rules, you can put all of them one, You can put, spread them out, you can, whatever, Ken.
Thank you.
Now everybody's watching you.
Yeah,
So
no
everybody,
pressure,
the others, they kind of slipped in there, but. Yeah. What do you guys, department directors, because you know, this really is, I mean, it's important, and the commission wants to hear for you, and we've got 2 new people, but what was your impression of this deal? He's probably more dynamic than I am.
I thought it was very good. It was nice because we had went through some transitions as department heads and council from a lot of engagement to less engagement. I mean, it's kind of ebbs and flows. And that was just a good opportunity to kind of open the doorway back up, to get in, to have some conversations before we get to budget time, to talk about what the city's goals are, so our department goals can align with that.
Uh-huh.
And then once we got a plan that we could actually look at, I mean, I'm already working on next year's budget, and I am looking at this year's plan to see what fits within that.
This plan,
Right.
You're going back to this.
What we're
good.
supposed to be doing. What
So
steps are we taking.
this has been a useful organizational tool for you,
At least for me, yes.
okay? Anybody else? Yeah, it's okay, you know, some people don't like this. Skip, what do you think? Did that help, or did?
I'll be honest, I haven't looked at it.
Oh, this?
I mean, I looked at it today, but I mean.
But were you engaged with it?
The motto part of it anyway, I guess.
Pardon?
The vision and the motto part of it. the
Oh,
first
but
day.
you, okay, all right.
Yeah, the rest of it, I think, was done the second day, and I think there was only 1 or 2.
Oh, that's right,
Right.
that's right. That's right. The other part
Was not inclusive.
that was the city administrator, commissioner, and city clerk, I think.
Right.
Okay, all right, so you haven't seen this? Had you,
Well, and then I had to ask about 5 times to get it.
I haven't
So,
seen- I haven't seen it.
it wasn't well distributed
oh,
after
well,
being
that's
completed.
great. There's some good stuff in here.
Right.
Good, so you've got copies now, okay?
Got this copy anyway.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's a copy for everything. Good deal. That's great. Okay. So we've consolidated, put it up there, and then really now it's, if you can see it. Can you see it, or do you
Yes,
want?
we can see it.
Can you see this, or does
Is
it
it
need to
Sanskrit?
be, or needs to be
No,
moved up?
I'm teasing. Yeah, I can see it. Thank you.
Okay. So really now, and ultimately, the commission, we will make a resolution, what you came up with. So therefore, it goes on record that these are our city goals as you all move into the budget and look at that things, and it communicates something to the citizens at large. So it's up for you. It's now your dialogue. So looking at this, I'll get in the back. What are your thoughts, commissioners, mayor and commissioners?
Well, the city comp plan is longer term and includes everything over on that easel to the right. I think both in economic development, infrastructure, and housing, all of those are near-term goals. But in the longer term, we got the comp plan out there. It involves all of those things, and they're kind of synchronized. And over on the left, human resources, that's a big one for a lot of folks. City organization, we probably need to take a look at that. Certainly more community engagement, though.
Other comments?
I do agree. I think the city organization does show exactly where everybody finds that. Human resources is big, infrastructure is big. The commission thought that the housing was big for us.
Yeah, you had a bunch on housing, and you had economic development.
Financials is big.
Yeah. Ken, what are your thoughts?
On what I'm seeing
Yeah,
here?
what are you seeing?
I'll say a real good distribution of
what people are interpreting as goals. By far, human resources, I'll say on the department head side, is a priority, and I placed my cupcake on human resources because I believe when we take care of the people are going to take care of the community, and that is a big item for me, almost non-negotiable. I put 2 each on economic development and housing, and those are the ones that I feel most strongly about personally. So I'm pleased with what I'm seeing. I was expecting to probably see more on housing because that's something that nearly everyone talks about.
Yeah,
But
everyone in the community.
everybody in the community,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, for many years. So I love this exercise, and I'm not surprised with what I'm seeing.
So, before you say, what are 5 goals that I would bring back to you in a resolution? And you then can change or modify, and generally those are goals, they are not ranked, they're just goals. It's before I do that, some thoughts that hit me as a person. When we did that deal, council's up here, the departments are down here. They're saying, I gotta run this thing, and they're saying, my people. That's the deal. That's where you guys are getting you deal with it day in, day out with your people, people, human resources, weekly pay, all that. You're dealing with that. That's, you're down here delivering the services, just like on that glide slope. You are interested in efficiencies and effectiveness, and this is infrastructure is interesting. Had 2 from the council, but you're dealing with the infrastructure in essence. I guess that's what that shows. And housing, but there is kind of a, there's kind of a split. Yeah. So, but that's okay. That's okay. So, talking. So, we're going to be out of here. You worked. So, Mayor and Commissioners, you can do 4 or 5. What would you like for me to bring back as a resolution as the city's goals for the upcoming?
Can I say something before you get to that point?
Sure.
I see that what you're talking about when you say there's a kind of a split between operations department head and council, but I also see a coalition of council recognizing what we see and also trying to find a support service to make that happen with the development and the housing. So I appreciate the fact that they're taking that high road or that high observation point of how are they going to get to what we're asking for, and you see that with the cupcakes or the sweet spots up there.
Sweet spots, I like that.
Yeah, I thought you catch that.
Yeah, so it's not a division, that's what you're...
But I'm just seeing their support, they're trying to see how we're going to get to what we're asking for, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think that they can speak for themselves, but I see that too, and okay. So somebody can speak up and say, I'm gonna put a big circle on one and I'll wordsmith it and come back. So.
Well, forgive me, I'm assuming you're just going to score them.
All I'm gonna do is, out of this exercise, what would the commission say are the 5 goals, the city-wide goals that you would like to include?
Yeah, I understand. And
Okay.
we're just 2 weeks out from our national election, I look at these as being votes. So when I'm looking.
Are going to vote till it comes before you, so you've got time to.
No, what I'm saying is to answer your question, what 4 or 5 goals?
Yeah.
I would, not to pick on anything specifically, financials only got 2 commissioner votes, and comp plan got 2 commissioner votes and 1 department head vote, right? So those, I don't see those making the cut, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
Because I look at
You're looking
human
at.
resources that has 10 dots and 1 cupcake, and economic development that, or
Oh,
infrastructure that has 9 dots and 2
well,
cupcakes.
that's one way to look at it. That's one way to look at it.
Okay.
That you can look at it that way. That you're a commissioner. You can look at it that way by you're seeing total dots, and you're seeing it that way from a ranking. I have a tendency to look at it from the commissioner's standpoint of the cupcakes. That's the way I see it.
Okay.
But you all can see it so if you see it a particular way, communicate, because and talk among yourselves, talk about it, and because ultimately I will bring a resolution, and it'll have, in not a ranking order, so many goals, and you all will vote on that to move forward. So, but you can look at it any way you want. You looked at it differently than, and that's not to say your ways, my ways better.
Hey, it was just an
It's
assumption.
it's just so it's your dog to hunt.
I think on the right infrastructure, to me, has to be in place before we can move forward with housing and any other form of future economic development. We have to confer with the people in charge, Mr. Skip and more, as far as infrastructure, before we could have airport expansion, before we could have housing, before we could have other forms of economic development and building a bigger Monett. So the infrastructure would be on this side.
Would you disagree that the infrastructure to grow housing is already in place?
I didn't know, but if I didn't know, I would assume that infrastructure would have to be in place before anything could be conferred.
Yeah, Skip will correct me, but I believe it is, right? We're situated well for housing growth.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some areas that would probably take some upgrades or.
Sure,
some more.
pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So question, so I understand, you have streets and that sort of thing present for housing.
Yeah, the streets
you
next
took-
to it anyway.
Pardon?
Streets next to some of these areas, I think, where Ken's talking about is we do have some utilities served in most areas in town. Some of these areas that would probably be good to develop, I mean, streets is always an issue when it comes to developing. We don't have the streets laid out for like a subdivision ready for somebody to move in.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of contiguous space left inside city limits. So the streets aren't there because of that.
And that'll be an issue, that's a policy issue that you will deal with.
Yeah.
I would imagine that your policy, I don't have the planning, building, and the street guy, but if you come in and do a subdivision, it's the policy for the developer to put in all the infrastructure? Pretty much.
Well, the streets, it's been, and probably water and sewer, and then there's been kind of a cooperative effort on the electric anyway, where we supply some of the material and some of the other stuff as kind of an incentive and offset some costs.
So the only incentive in the past has been electric and permit fees. You haven't provided, and I know there's a difference between our, different sewer lines, but you haven't provided individual sewer lines in that subdivision or individual streets in that subdivision.
Correct.
The city has never paid for that to enhance housing.
I think we've had something in place now for taps and some other fees on
But
sewer
minimal.
water to waive
Minimal.
in some of these.
And then you do not have which is a real interesting, you do not have, when you look inside your city, you have not provided, or we have not provided incentives to fill in gaps, any kind of incentives for housing.
No,
Okay, but
not
there,
on a large scale.
but there are potential inside the city for lots and older housing. I mean, that opens up, and you do not have a quote housing strategy. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
That's, if we're gonna think back to earlier, when I provided my goal, I used the word aggressive.
Aggressive housing. Yes, that's listed.
It's there.
Okay.
And that's for that purpose.
All right, then.
Because
and-
we've not been aggressive.
Then that would entail working on developing a housing plan and both internally and externally that could tie into annexation.
Correct.
It could tie into
all
deals.
inclusive.
So you need to review those potential incentives if that's going to do. And as we all know, you can get them long-term or upfront or whatever. Yeah, okay, that's good. That's a good dialogue, I think. I mean, it helps me understand, helps your citizens understand.
So if you're just looking for my opinion on what I would want to see on that future resolution, I'm going to say economic development. I'm going to say, if you're talking about, you want the broad category?
Yeah,
economic
and I'll
development.
wordsmith it.
Economic development, housing, and financials.
Housing. I'm just checking them,
Yep,
so
yeah.
we can talk about it. Financial?
Yep. And human resources.
Okay.
Not that the others are not important. but
No.
If everything's a priority, nothing's a
But if
priority.
Commissioner Ken was going to rank the top things that would move forward for the community, city goals, those would be Ken's four.
Those would be my four.
Okay? Dive in there, boys.
I'll pick economic development, absolutely, economic development. Over here, I would like to see city organization and financials myself.
Both?
Yeah, city, 1 and 2. City organization, financials.
And this is just for discussion, guys.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
I'm
just
just
discussion.
checking them so you can visually
I agree.
see it, okay? Anything else? Those are your two. Okay.
Yep.
Mayor?
The comp plan is still going to be number one for me, because that allows, when you got a plan, you can be proactive instead of reactive, and it's required by state law.
Okay.
So that's going to be my number one. Economic or housing and economic development. The infrastructure will assist in that, but again, you got to have a plan. Housing is near-term goal. That is very common. Everyone talks about housing. Now over here on this side, communications marketing. I think we need to connect with the citizens out there. We've started on that, but we can do better on it. And that, partnerships, what does the city wants? We talked about surveys, that could certainly be part of it. But we need to get out in the community and make those connections. So communications and marketing. It's not that I don't think human resources is not important. I'm thinking up at a 50,000 foot level.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've said, just clicking. So, and you can have all the goals you want, you know, just because, as you said, just because you made the comment, that was a good comment. It's not that they don't care about human resources or they don't care about that. So, so I have 7. So any other dialogue? You can have more dialogue at the council. I mean, you know, there's not, you can have 7 goals if you want, or you can have 5 or say, you know, this one, it's not that we don't support that, but now the purpose of this is to move forward when we look at doing the budget. Because here's the deal on a budget. By the time you get your people paid for, which is about 80%, and the time you pay for your operating costs, which are pretty steady, you can project out there, and then by the time you say, I've got to keep a fund balance of this amount of money in the future, you're only going to have so much upfront cost to play with, or you're going to pay it off over time in your budget. So, I mean, that's the reality. There's limited deal, and you get into this in communities. If you do housing, brings retail. Economic development pays the bills. So anyway, I hope I haven't been, you know, hope this is making sense for you, something to think about. It'll be 10:30, and then what would we do after this? Would we go back, keep going, or we have to wait and act at 1 o'clock? Is that right?
Michael's not going to be here until about 12:30.
Okay, all right, and then we've got lunch, so we can take a break or,
Jeff?
yeah.
What, just because I'm curious on this, so infrastructure had 9 votes from department heads and 2 treats. We'll say we'll kick that, and that was like the second highest, but it wasn't selected by the council. So I just want to hear their thoughts as to like what changed.
You mean the second highest of total numbers?
Well, total numbers, but it also has, I mean, 2 council votes on it as well. So it's at least, you know, up there as a priority for everyone. But I just want to hear their thoughts on like what changed to make the other things go.
I think it'd be a good discussion for you all to have a discussion. I'll go get some coffee. You guys should. No, I mean,
No, really, yeah.
Ask why, ask questions. Part of this is a team building exercise to understand each other, both department directors, commissioners, what have you. So you ask a question, that's fine, and then they'll talk to you about it.
There you go. Well, I think kind of just already asked the question with what changed, or what was your
With infrastructure?
with infrastructure compared to the others.
I didn't place a cupcake on infrastructure, so
I placed a cupcake on infrastructure, absolutely.
Well, you got to have the plan first. Economic development is a big part of that plan before you go back and do the infrastructure. So you get the plans in place, and then you figure out what you need to do. Where are you going to build housing? And we kind of have some of that now, but until we have that plan, the infrastructure, there's no, okay, let's just build this out here and build this out here. And that's why.
So I'll tell you why I did not place a cupcake on infrastructure, and I didn't select it subsequently, because that's my point, right? If we have 10 dots and 1 cupcake on human resources and 9 dots on infrastructure and 2 cupcakes, I would have expected those 2 to be 1 and 2 respectively. I didn't select infrastructure because based on my knowledge, infrastructure is good. So to me, it's not a primary focus because it's in good shape. There are other things that are not in as good shape that I would consider a priority or a goal within the next 12, 18 months. And that's how I approached this. But I love the question though, I really do.
And then, well, to follow up on that, same reasoning for human resources. Human resources only had 1 vote, but it had a lot of department heads on it. So what would be, is that the same?
So I'll answer that one also, I'm sorry, but, so I have the cupcake, the lone cupcake
The
on
lone
human
cupcake.
resources. And the lone check mark on human resources. So I do put that as a very high priority, very high goal.
It's internal stuff, I'm looking up here, and of course, human resources is important to me. Talked about retention, I've gone around and talked to almost every employee on the city. We know it's important, but we got a way forward of that. Okay, this is, on that mountain, it's a little bit down here. This is administrator, staff, not so much what's going on way up here. City organization is the same way for me.
So I agree with that, but I guess coming from, and you're military, you understand this, like you gotta have the people to be able to do the plan. The plan's important, but you don't have the people or they're not happy to do it, you're not gonna get anything done. And so that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, yes, I understand that having a plan, housing, I agree with, I just ran out of stickers. And the reason for that is just because the housing market here is the same price as Jeff City. Which is my issue, but the employees and having that development within the city organization to be able to complete those plans from at least a department standpoint is, I'm just seeing what what's the council's thoughts on that?
On human resources again?
Well, human resources, which slightly ties into city organization, because you're going to have happy, or I don't want to say happy employees, but you're going to have employees that are able to perform at the best of their abilities to complete the plans that the council's set forth.
I knew as an employer at one time, and all these department heads have their employees working under them, which is why we have so many pink dots next to that human resources. They're the ones who are in communication with the people. We're not, So they make they make the important issue that human resources and pay raises and fair pay and weekly payroll and all the things that are up there are important issues to maintain stability. And I've always bent over backwards when I was a business owner to give my employees the best, that I didn't want to lose them over a nickel more an hour to the competition. So I always went above and beyond to make sure they was well taken care of. I agree with absolutely working with pay scales, and we implemented a new matrix, I think, on the payroll. It's not yet in
That's what
place.
we're working through right now.
Yeah,
That's what-
so it's definitely in our wheelhouse, but I know the importance of why you have so many department head dots on that, because they are the department heads who are the employer of maintaining the stability of long-term pay employees. It's a unit.
It's, I noticed, just a comment, just an observation, there was, where was that, on this, have you seen this? You have?
I was skimming through it briefly.
Okay. Of the things
There we go.
that,
We have one now.
yeah, well, we'll get you another one. This is a good deal, and I, in defense, and I've got a list here, the things that were identified way back in September or whatever are already being worked on. I mean, the wage and benefits study, and that was identified in this, which is more of an, as you were alluding to, that's kind of the organizational strategic plan. And my only comment is, she and the administrator are not going to stop working on HR stuff. I mean, you know, we've got an employee benefit thing, but it's a dialogue. That's what that thing showed. It's a dialogue between administration, and it's important because that's why, if you don't have your people, you can't provide the services.
It's not just having the people, but it's having the right people, having well-trained,
Yes,
well-experienced,
yes,
good customer servant people.
yes.
So that they're taking care of the community and everything else falls in place.
And I can't find it. I was looking through this thing because it was done, there was some stuff done afterwards.
Yeah, there was a prioritization exercise.
Yeah, there was of objectives, and there was discussion about continuing to have dialogue with the commission and the department directors on a weekly basis. It talked about doing the wage and benefits study. In the wage and benefits study, that's important if you have the resources to do it. It's not, I don't know how you're doing your pay raises, or if you're doing a cost of living across the board. Is that how we've done it in the past?
Pretty much.
And with high inflation, that's the deal. But when you're recruiting an officer there, and I've been there, and you put in front of them, and you're trying to bring this person here, says, here, we've got this wage and benefit, and if we have financial resources, you're guaranteed that you're going to move up this level. That's a selling point for not only recruitment, but also for maintaining that employee. And I think that's what the commissioners were all saying is that's not going away. I mean, that's an organizational issue. And same thing with this thing. That's where your new city manager is going to do. How efficient and effective are you? I've suggested measuring. How many streets are you doing? How many? You've got measures, and then there's efficiency measures and effectiveness measures. And effectiveness measures deal with your customer service type of deal, which is the surveys and stuff. And so the point is I think it's an acknowledgement. I guess I'm defending you. It's an acknowledgement that we need to stay on the big area and let you guys do what you're supposed to do. Anyway.
I think as department head, but as an employee, maybe I misunderstood what was going on that deal, because I kind of feel now like we have human resources covered. I mean, I put one of my stickers on that, but I put two up on the organization because I feel like we're weak in that area. So I thought I was voting toward the ones that are most important to me, and as far as human resources and talking with other departments and several employees, I don't know that we've added or could add as far as the commission, and in a position that has had more effect positively on the employees of the city than currently we do with human resources, as far as the feedback and the fact the employee advisory committee that's going on. I mean, there's not everyone's going to be happy about what's said and all that. I mean, I understand that, but the positive feedback from those meetings and from interactions with Aaron as human resources, I think that's had a huge impact on the employees within our city already, and with the wage study that's going on and some other measures that she's taken. I mean, I just think that it's a big positive. And then, a couple of the other ones where I placed mine were just areas that I felt were a weakness, but that was just an acknowledgement of that's very important to me.
Yeah. So Chief, my point on the importance of human resources and the wage study is, it's great that we've engaged it, but just doing it doesn't solve anything. We have to act on it, and that's going to come with council action.
That's going to be huge on you guys.
Exactly
honestly.
right. So that is why I placed such a huge focus and amount of energy on that, because A, it needs to be done, B, it needs to be done properly, but most importantly, it needs to be executed. What execution looks like and to what degree, what level, nobody knows yet. But
And your decisions for us
absolutely
are going to be huge.
Absolutely, and long-standing, right? They should be. So
And when they get to the budget, two issues you're gonna deal with.
Yep.
Employee, when that's 70–80% of the total city resources, and capital costs. That's what they've got to balance that.
Is that accurate, 70 to 80%?
Well,
That's another question for Zeph.
It's up there.
in a lot of places it is.
That's a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's a given. I mean, and in today's inflationary time,
And without draconian measures, it never decreases.
no, it continues.
Right.
It never ends. And if you put a way increase, it keeps continuing on the way. So anyway, but it's almost, it's quarter till. So commissioners, mayor, commissioners, I never know. I don't understand former government. I'm struggle. So let's come out of this saying, what do you want me to bring before you? You want me to, and then you can discuss, more when the resolution comes to you. You want me to bring all 7? You want me to narrow it down? And you aren't voting. You're just saying, you're just communicating. Because the actual decision will come later.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to speak out towards something, and it's in no disrespect to anything that has been said or anybody personally. My view of the city comp plan is that we've engaged SimCog to do that. So, yes, it's not complete, but as far as I'm concerned, it's complete. It's being done. Once it's completed, it's going to be returned to us and we'll have it. And we move forward. So I wouldn't want to see the comp plan on a resolution for the next 12 to 18 month type goals. Go ahead.
Well, on the comp plan, since we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not just, that's a big process. And, just like we don't want to lose focus on the human resources. We want to make, it's SimCog, and there are 2 options here. There's a decision point for us initially. All right, it's going to be, do we want SimCog to do it, nonprofit, or the other option there, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to get someone to do all of it. Now, if we do the SimCog route, we're bringing in we're bringing members from the community. They participate in the plan. And we have to follow through with that, and it's not a simple process, or it's an involved process. We've got to pick, if we go to the SimCog auction, we have to go out and we form a committee and start doing it. And then the second step after we get a committee is to send out surveys. Now remember, SimCog came and told, that way we get the community input. But that is a year-long effort. And that's why I want to get started on it, because I wanted to get it going and then start executing.
I thought we had already voted on that, though.
We did.
Months ago. The meeting we had at the Justice Center.
Well, I got that, but I think we have to do a don't we have to do, we got this option here. And you've done this before.
Yeah, I've done it.
You've done it before.
Yeah.
You've probably done it both ways, where you hire someone just to come in and do it, or
Yep.
the SIMCOG route
Yep.
is to facilitate the city doing.
There's two, and I'll just ask, since, and it is important. I'm a big, when I went to Camdenton, we had the same situation. You know, it'd been 20, 30 years, and it's very important to do. And not only to give you direction for housing and all sorts of things, and zoning and all of that. It's a foundation. So I'm a big supporter of it. Have they given you a cost and you've authorized the cost, or have
Have
we?
not.
You have not entered into the contract?
Now, SIMCOG, yeah, I talked with Jason Reyes from SIMCOG last week. He said they're getting ready to hit the send button, but do we have to compete that? That's my question.
Oh, you mean an
Because it's not
RFP?
Yes.
I don't think that you do. That's my gut feeling. That's my gut, because they are representative of local governments, and they can provide services without participating in the RFP. But I would want to I need to double check. That's off the top of my head. And then in that piece, and if you did an RFP, I can tell you what it's going to run. So, you know, it's going to run a minimum of $100,000, if not 120, 130, depending upon how much you want them to participate in the community input, you know, the meetings and all of that.
Yeah.
Those are the two pieces. And but the issue of whether or not you put it on or not, that's, you know, that's whatever you guys want to do. And probably asking them, they'll probably tell you don't have to bid on it, you know, but, or not bid on it, but RFQ.
I think we have to, I talked with our lawyers about this, and we have to follow the city's purchasing bid policy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that,
Okay,
but
yeah.
we have to follow
Okay.
that, whatever that is.
Okay, yeah. So the point, but the point is isn't there, I mean, there's an agreement you all are going to move forward on that, isn't there?
100%.
100%, yeah.
My interpretation, my understanding is that we had already decided to move forward with that,
Okay, well, that's why we're,
but that was already established.
yeah, well, we'll
That's why
find
I
out.
wouldn't rank
We'll
it.
find out, I'll follow up on that
Okay.
and I'll, you know, administratively, but,
So I just want to make that clear, that my statement earlier was based upon my understanding that we already had engaged that, and it was moving, and it was ongoing. So with that said, with this new information that we have not truly moved with it, it is a goal that I would want to see, just to make sure that we keep eyes on it and it gets traction.
okay. So right now I got 7. You want me to bring them forward then? Or you want to make any modifications? Just nod, it's, you know, yes? Yeah, you know. Bring them forward and then talk about it. And I'll put something together and we'll do a resolution, and then you can it's good dialogue. It's a good dialogue you all are having. It's good dialogue you're having with your department. You guys are hearing this, it's good. Beautiful.
I'd like to say one thing that's not up there right now, and it might not affect us in the next 18 months or so, but we do have world companies here in Monett. And we're seeing these companies automate to, you know, to robotics and everything else. And it's something for the council to think about, I think, is to realize that when that robot takes that person's job, that there's no tax revenue created from that person that just left that job. So I'm just, you know, just put it out there, the way this world's going right now.
Yeah.
And everything that.
Well, if you did a full-fledged economic development plan and looked at that, you know, which ties into your financial plan, But the neat thing, that's what they should be looking at that. Good point. Okay. I'll bring back 7 and you guys could talk about it and I'll develop a resolution. I hope this was beneficial. I did the best I could. Hope you've learned something. You now have department directors. We've got extras of these, don't we? There's an extra for you. I don't know the timetable of the budget and stuff. My job is to hold the fort, hold it together as we move forward. And so, final words? Anything for the good of the order?
I want to appreciate you putting this together. I think it's valuable. Glad we got the department heads here to have the more discussion. And I think including all in these discussions, kind of like we're doing today's format, it just doesn't have to be for the budget. Other things come up, other issues come up. I think we can use this venue so everyone gets on the same page and understands why.
I made this comment to all the department directors, Becca, and the ladies out front where the rubber meets the road,
Oh, yeah?
collects those bills. I said, and some of you heard, and as I get older, I get these sayings, but you heard me. A lot of times it's not the money or the benefits or stuff, but people do their work. One, because you're making a difference. You know, you want your job to be that it's of service and you enjoy making a difference. On a side note, it's never a dull moment in city government. That's why I'm in city government. Every day is a different day. And the other thing that they want to know is they want to know what's going on. They want to understand. The citizens do, but the employees don't want. They want to know what's going on and understand what's going on. And so that's part of HR, you know. But and I think that, Mayor, to your point, that's what this is all about. The department directors are the first man to their employee. First up front, you need to communicate, well, how'd it go? You know, what'd you learn? You know, all that. Communicate to your employees what's going on. Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? What's the schedule now? We're 11. We may eat early. I don't know.
Lunch is at 11:30.
11:30. We got 30-minute break, and then we eat lunch, and then the auditor guy comes at 12:30. Thank you.
Auditor, never mind. Well, we're going to talk about insurance today, or are we doing that next Tuesday?
Is she doing lunch?
I'm not sure where she took off. So I think there's going to be a brief discussion.
Just have to communicate.
On the insurance renewal.
Aaron, are you going to communicate the status of the insurance thing?
I can.
Okay, she could, because there's been quite a bit, and there's been some, and this is a good time before we break to lunch. So if you could summarize where we're at with the insurance.
So I had a meeting with Allstakers, Arnie, last week. That's our insurance broker. And they kind of broke things down for us. I know there's a lot of uncertainty around Anthem right now because if you haven't heard, they're into contract negotiations with Mercy. So I've had some employees express that they're concerned because they have Mercy doctors, which is, I understand that. They really feel like this is going to be worked out. They have already worked it out on the Medicare, Medicaid side, so they feel like they're trying to work it out on that side. They kind of looked at some options for us. So Anthem is giving us the lowest, right now they're giving us the lowest cost when we renew our premium. They came in at a pretty low cost. Our previous insurance gave us a higher cost of renewal, so Anthem's premiums were definitely less expensive for the employee. So they just kind of gave us some options that we could look at for that. But the problem is we're so late in the game now. Trying to market a new insurance for us, if we decided we didn't want to go with Anthem, we're on a very tight schedule. Because they said it takes at least 14 business days to get that marketing going and get those quotes out there. And the reason why we went with Anthem too is because of that lower premium cost. Because even if we did try to go with another insurance, we have to go through open enrollment. We would have to have everything submitted to the carrier by December 5th for them to have their insurance cards and be claim ready by December 1st or January 1st. So that would be a really tight schedule, and they don't know if it would be doable if we decided to go with another insurance and try to market someone else. And they also told us you would take a large chance of your insurance premiums being higher for your employees because Anthem is offering us such a low cost. So I've had mix of both. I've had employees tell me they're concerned about that, but I've also had employees come to me and tell me that they love Anthem and they really didn't want to see us switch. So that's why I'd asked at the department head meeting if you guys have had any complaints about that. So I sent everything over to council from that meeting. Kevin was really good about detailing that all out and what our options are. And so I think they're going to look at into that next week because they're really needing us an answer because I have to set up open enrollment.
Okay, so the only question I have is with our current insurance agreement, if that's what we continue with, will that provide services through the Mercy hospital system after the first of the year, or will they have to change providers to a Cox or other approved provider?
It's to my understanding, and Kelly, you can correct me on this, if they don't sign a contract with Mercy, then we wouldn't be able to see Mercy providers.
Right. So who will they have options besides Cox?
That's kind of unknown right now. So Cox for sure, because we're allowed to see them anyway, and they have a contract with Cox. But the only one that it's disputing is Mercy. So anything that Anthem covers now is not going to be any different other than Mercy.
Are you talking about, so obviously we're talking about Cox and Mercy hospital systems.
Correct, yes.
And all their ancillary and affiliated providers.
Correct.
Are you also asking about the private practitioner?
Is there anything else that's going to be optioned that anybody else opting out or anybody else associated with Mercy that they will no longer have access to? Because the providers are switching so much too, it's hard to keep up with that.
The only one we know of is Mercy, is the only contract issue they have right now.
That's still undecided.
Correct, yeah.
I remember a few years ago, it came down to literally the 11th hour.
Yes.
It was on like December 31st of a given year.
They finally
That
came to
contract
terms.
was actually, signed.
So we're kind of unknown right now. So they kind of gave council some options to look at, and that's what I sent over to them.
Okay, so is Anthem looking at the increase in rates? Or do we know that yet?
Not to, they already gave us our increased percentage, correct? That's
slight.
what that
Yeah,
was, and
it
it was
gives us
just
an
slight.
increase a little bit.
Was
It's
it
a
12?
12.2%. But with the premium that we're expecting to receive back, it could be more looked at as a 2.2% because we're expecting to possibly get $100,000 back for premiums on our first year with Anthem, which is
Okay.
really
And that's
beneficial.
because we invest in this program or whatever unexpended can go back towards our next year's, right?
Yeah, where some of the insurance companies don't offer that.
Correct.
If we don't use it, they just keep it. So where Anthem doesn't do that, if you don't use it, they refund it back to you, so.
Maybe I just want to clarify, those funds come back to us. We then decide what we're going to do
Yeah, you had
with
that.
those funds.
Correct.
Yeah, you had the authority to do whatever you choose.
Correct,
with them.
yeah. Which the plan would be, the goal would be to apply them towards.
To help offset the increase.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
But that's how you get to this 2%. Because I was like,
Correct.
that's a really
Correct.
low change from what it was before, but that's with this application.
Right.
And that's only if we stay with this company.
That's correct. And plan.
Well, wait, you asked a good question. So what if Anthem does not get a contract with Mercy?
So.
What's the option then?
So there's some options listed in that email I sent you,
Okay.
and they kind of tell you what they could do for employees that would prefer to use Mercy. So I sent that to all three of you yesterday, and that's just the options they gave us.
They would be considered out-of-network, which is then has higher out-of-pocket responsibility for the.
And the other options that you could do, which is in that email, if I remember, is that if there was somebody that had a particular concern, they could get an additional coverage, you know, it'd be out of their cost, right, Aaron?
Yes.
And then there'd be like a month delay or something, but they could get additional coverage.
Oh, so they can purchase it right?
They could purchase an individual, correct?
So the way Ryan explained it to us, if for some reason they didn't come to, and you had an employee that said, I only want to use Mercy, they could go on Marketplace, Alice could help them and go on Marketplace and get them a separate policy.
Oh, okay, so that's completely separate, it's not a rider.
But they would be double covered. They would still be covered under the Anthem policy, and then they would be covered under the other policy, and then council would have to decide whether we're going to cover any portion of that second policy.
Okay.
And there's caveats to that. Anytime you have secondary insurances.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
But they would be double covered under the Anthem plan also.
So when does council need to make a decision? Pretty quick?
We're
Is this what we're gonna do on Tuesday?
looking to do that as an action at this Tuesday council meeting for you to take an action on that. And then I'm diving into your deal, but
No, you're okay.
then we'll be late on our dental and vision. That'll come later.
Yeah, he doesn't have the increase rates or the renewal rates for dental and vision. He will have those by the first week of November.
Really, as long as the council makes a decision, would address all my staff's concerns, because they're just trying to think of secondary insurance that they have to enroll in also, and they just have to make a decision based on what you guys do.
Okay.
Has Tuesday's meeting been finalized?
Yes, 4 o'clock,
4 p.m.
4 p.m. because you have a Main Street meeting at 5. I was told by that guy over there. And anyway, it'll be a short meeting. We only have 2 issues.
So you got the land,
That is the one
We
time.
have-
Land's today.
what's that?
The land is today.
Oh, we're doing that today? Okay.
Yeah.
You're doing the what?
The donation of land for the 60.
Oh, yeah, you're doing that, but then we may have to appoint, and if there's something else, we could, for right now, the only other thing that I know of is that TIF appointment, maybe.
Tuesday, 29th? Again?
Yeah,
That's Tuesday meeting, Tuesday the 29th.
Tuesday, that's next Tuesday, right?
Correct.
29th.
At 4 o'clock in the conference room at City Hall.
Okay. All right, but who are we seeing at 12:30 today? Who's
The auditor.
the auditor?
Michael.
Okay, so we're
I
not
have
doing
lunch
insurance.
coming.
Okay, I got you.
Well, but we wanted to brief everybody on the insurance, so you can get it back to your employees.
Okay.
So we want to reconvene here at 12:30? Okay?
But lunch
I
is
have
ready,
lunch coming. Lunch is on its way right now.
12:30.
Did you already
We don't make it
talk
adjourn.
to?
I talked to Jim, he's picking it up, so he's bringing over Jamie Lynn's.
Okay? 12:30 then? How's that sound there, Jeff?
I don't know, I've been following along. Well, we got through this.
Meeting, and this is audit presentation from Hood and Associates, so.
Mr. Michael, last name?
Michael Keenan? Yeah, I'm Michael Keenan. I'm with Hood and Associates here to present a draft copy of the financial statements and results of the audit for the fiscal year ended March 31, 2024. I've included a PowerPoint presentation, but I believe everyone's got one printed out.
Yep.
So we just want to go with the printout one versus, okay? We put on some extras here.
Accessories, huh? I'm a shell of a man without them.
Can't see very far away or can't see up close. Anyway, so you should have been provided, again, 3 documents. It's the basic financial statements, which is a larger document, which is the financial statements management discussion analysis, the basic financial statements and notes. Also, the single audit, which is the expenditures of federal awards that the city had. You had one major program, which is the airport, which wrapped up after, I believe, 3 years of construction. And so depending on, I think you still have quite a bit of funds left for ARPA yet to spend. So if you spend all of those in one setting, greater than $750,000, that's what triggers a single audit.
Yeah, I don't know if you can answer this question, but is there a deadline by which we must commit ARPA funds?
Yes. You have to have them committed by, I believe, 2026.
Right, 12/31/26.
Right.
Thank you.
So I
Okay.
believe you have,
What is the balance?
I think the balance was 800, 800 and some. It's the unearned revenue, and let me get to the page. On page 13, it's like $1 million. So you got basically $1,033,000 of unspent ARPA funds to be used as the requirements recall. And you're familiar with the ARPA funds, you know, most of that, you get up to $10 million, you could say, is revenue loss.
You said
to document what you're
You
spending.
said unearned income. What do you mean unearned income? Was that interest?
No, it's called unearned revenue, meaning that you haven't spent the grant. So you have the cash on hand, but I know, until you spend it, you don't earn it. So if you don't spend it, you can always give it back, which I don't think that's
we're gonna do
an
that.
option.
Not gonna do that.
But that's how it's reflected in your financial statements, is unearned, that you just haven't spent it yet.
Okay.
So I think that would be something to address. I think those probably were plans at one point through previous councils that had outlined maybe what that was wanting to spend those funds on. Certainly something to look at and get those obligated and spent.
ARPA funds.
I'm sorry?
What were the things that you guys discussed before on ARPA funds?
We had not allocated any for specific use yet.
Okay.
Yeah, there was some spent,
Yeah.
but again, I just think you just would need to recommend that you go and you have that there and it can be used for.
Now, we don't have to do this now, but I'd like to know what we can spend it on.
I think you pretty much spend on anything you want.
Correct?
Generally, but yeah, I would probably suggest that you look at maybe repairs, maintenance, capital related things that you really don't need, that would make more sense than spending it on
salaries
other
or
things. I mean, that salaries they were doing.
one-time deal.
Yeah, but they were doing some one-time payments to help those that got maybe laid off during COVID.
Okay.
But I think if you just recommend that you go through that process and document what you're gonna spend it on, get it allocated, and
Thank you.
and spend it. And then the last document was the required communications and management letter, which outlined some suggestions and possible improvements in internal control. And as far as the PowerPoint, well, I'll go through that. It kind of summarizes the results and what we did in the three documents. So on page 2, a little bit about Hood and Associates. Been serving Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. We also go through what's called a peer review report. That's where another auditing firm will come in and review our quality control standards, similar to like we get audited by others. And we have been awarded the highest rating as a result of that peer review. We're members of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, the AICPA, the AICPA Government Audit Quality Center. One member happens to be a special reviewer for the Government Finance Officers Association, which is me. I review other reports that are submitted for the excellence and achievement in financial reporting. And we're licensed to practice in Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Again, on page 3, the scope of the audit. Again, we are engaged to perform an audit of the city's basic financial statements for the year ended March 31, 2024. And also the single audit, which we had discussed, which is expenditures of federal awards. And again, we had one major program, and that was the airport grant funding. On page 4 is management's responsibilities. Everybody got one, or do we need a? Okay, if you don't, we can always put it up on if we need to. Okay. So management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements prepared in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. This includes the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal controls relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements are free of material misstatement, whether that's due to fraud or error. Management is also responsible for following laws and regulations, also ensuring that the financial information is both reliable and properly reported. In addition, the management is responsible for implementing systems designed to achieve compliance with laws, regulation, contracts, and grant agreements. That's just a summary of what management is responsible for within this audit. Now, our responsibilities as the auditors, we're responsible to conduct our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, governmental auditing standards, as well as the uniform guidance. The uniform guidance dictates what we do related to the single audit, federal guidance of federal awards. The other two are what we're required to do and what other auditors are required to follow when they're auditing governmental entities such as the city of Monett. We're also responsible to report on internal controls over financial reporting as well as on compliance with laws and regulations. The next page, page 6. The Auditing Standards Board of the American Institute of Certified Public Accounts, again, the AICPA, recommend that we communicate these matters to the governing board. First, illegal acts. None came to our attention as a result of us performing our audit procedures. Changes in significant accounting policies. In the FY24, there were no significant changes in accounting policies that were adopted by the city. We're pleased to report we had no difficulties or disagreements with management, and we had cooperation, full access to the books and records and any documents that were requested for testing. On page 7, we've got a financial and compliant audit really addresses these next 3 questions. The first question, are the financial statements free of material misstatement? And since these are draft form, we have issued a draft, unmodified opinion that the financial statements indeed are fairly presented in all material respects. Again, an unmodified opinion is also commonly referred to as a clean opinion. That's the highest level of opinion that external auditors can provide on financial statements. So that's the best opinion that you can receive.
Clean opinion?
Clean, that's what the, kind of unmodified, you know, they used to call it unqualified. It just, they thought they changed the wording. It's kind of, you know, it's misleading to us, but unmodified. Maybe we didn't have any modifications. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of it's the highest level, you know, it's what you want. It's saying that the financial statements indeed are free of material misstatements in all material respects. The second question, are internal controls over financial reporting adequately designed and operating effectively? And our response is we did not identify any deficiencies in internal controls that we considered to be material weaknesses. Again, had we done so, we're required by our profession to inform the governing body of those deficiencies in internal control. Again, we do have some comments, and internal control really we're looking at that is the initiation, authorization, approval of transaction. It starts here with this board and the tone at the top and what policies, procedures, and what your expectations are of the personnel that are underneath you. And that goes to looking at policies, procedures, and it's ever evolving process that you just have to keep looking at as personnel changes, technology changes, all of those things. And this will be one of my recommendations coming up. On the third one, did the city comply in all material respects of finance-related laws and regulations? No material non-compliance was noted, but the finance-related laws and regulations that govern the city's operations. And again, looking at the single audit, from that perspective, is we had an unmodified or clean opinion on compliance with the federal grant related to the airport. So, and on the next page is on the management letter. This is on required communications, which I'm kind of summarizing in our PowerPoint. And management has provided their response. So we had 3 different recommendations to look at. One was financial policies and procedures review. And we had recommended that it's good, since you've had changes in leadership and some accounting and stuff, let's go ahead and look at all of your policies and procedures of purchasing personnel, and do they need to be updated, reviewed, improved? Again, it's...
Who would do that? You would?
No.
Us?
You guys would do that. Again, we can't be a part of the internal controls. So certainly if you had something, want to run something by it, you certainly, but you've hired this firm to at least review your employee handbook. And I think Jeff has had a lot of experience, as well as any of the other city administrators that have been here, as far as setting up policies and procedures, and they bring those forward to the board for approvals periodically. So it's just good to look at your purchasing policy. Is it too small? I mean, a lot of these purchasing policies that we see, you know, were written 20 years ago when the levels were $250, $500 where they would require phone bids. Well, you know, you can't even hardly go buy lunch without spending big money. So is, you know, some of those, does that need to be looked at to put that more up into a reasonable, where still the day-to-day transactions can be approved by management, your department heads. But here's the big dollars need to come up to this board for approval. And you can kind of set those as to what they are for efficiency purposes, and then where do you feel it's good to have this for you approve.
We did set those levels.
25,000, 50,000, somewhere in between. But you could set those up as to what that would look like for the city. And I'm sure you've seen all kinds of different thresholds, haven't you, on that? But again, that's just a good policy to take a look at. The second recommendation, and I think we put this in a couple years ago, we're going to probably put it in, is cybersecurity. It's ever present. You've got to always be looking at that. There's KCMO got hit. It's just, you know, I know the city of Joplin got hit. I mean, there's just bad people out there that are trying to make it easy, and looking at governments thinking that they don't have the security or, you know, maybe the IT support that others, but certainly something to, again, training and look at. It's just important to.
For everyone's information, I talked with Dave Compton, and a tabletop exercise from an emergency management standpoint, we're going to do a cyber security. That's going to be the theme of that. You know, it takes down the water plant or something like that. So I don't know how in-depth we're going to get on the technical part of the cybersecurity, but I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, those are fine. Those are, you know, things. Cyber, you know, phishing, changing passwords, some of those things that you can, you know, go through with the personnel. I mean, these guys and girls are getting very sophisticated. They can make an email come and look just like from somebody else. It changes the letters around, and you know, people are getting fooled by that every day. People that, you know, you would think that, and I would say they think they know better. It's still worth fooling. And the last one is future accounting pronouncements. There's Only 4, I don't think any of those are going to have a significant impact on the city's financial statements. When there are new accounting pronouncements, we do work with staff.
Give an example of pronouncement.
There's one on, like 101, compensated absences is effective. So what that's saying is, throughout the governmental reporting industry, not everybody is reporting their sick leave and vacation consistently.
Okay.
So, for instance, on vacation and sick leave, you would want to include Social Security taxes, which is 7 point, and some people aren't doing that.
Yeah.
So some people are including your pension. Well, the pension is calculated somewhere else. So to get consistency, when they put these standards out, they want everybody reporting under governmental auditing standards to report the same way to get consistency between city reporting in the state of Missouri versus the state of Kansas. So they put these little things out to kind of make everybody report the same way.
All right.
Again, I don't see any of these are going to have changes. I know that one that did come into impact is leases. And you had a bunch of leases that you entered into at the end of March of 2024. However, those leases, the equipment and stuff didn't get here until April.
What's a lease?
Lease.
Lease. Okay, I got you.
Sorry.
I had hearing problems.
I got some teeth that maybe it's not coming across that way.
We got a lot of police cars.
You got leases, you got hearing, seeing, we got.
I think there for a
We got all
second. How
kinds
many
of,
leases do
we
we
got
have?
experience problems, but anyway. So you went through enterprise lease, so you're leasing a bunch of vehicles.
Yeah.
And when we looked at that, you entered into those leases in March. And we looked at that, should those all be recorded as lease obligations and lease right to use assets? And some of those are actually financing leases where you're going to own that vehicle after 5 years. Well, those didn't actually start until April, first payments, which is in this fiscal year.
Right.
So.
That's mostly airport, right?
Citywide, you're
Citywide, there's like
You're doing
14, 15.
You're doing, you're doing police cars and a whole bunch of
I got
stuff.
you. Okay.
Every golf cart,
Trucks.
38 golf carts.
Yeah, and the golf carts, that, so that was GASB 87. So that was in a couple of years ago that came into play. And so you're still reporting your golf carts as a lease. Before, those were not reported on your books because they were more of an operating lease. Well, now there's no such thing as an operating lease. It's just a right to use. So we're still going to report this obligation on your books for the golf carts. And you're going to rent them for 5 years. So you owe an amount, present value for 5 years. And then you're going to have an asset that you amortize for 5 years. And these new enterprise leases will come on next year, this year. And so you're going to have a lot of debt for those that are financing leases. And then you're going to have equipment for those. Because I think most of those leases are 5-year, 60-month leases. And you entered in some more. And I think also those were initially in a whole bunch of different funds. And I think in '24 they were budgeted out of one fund to try to make the accounting easier.
That's different than what we did prior.
Prior, you would rent them and it would show as an expenditure. And it's still going to show as expenditure. Prior to that, you just didn't have to capitalize them. Now, if it was a financing lease, those had to be capitalized. Those used to be called capital leases, but now they're called financing. So it was still the ones that they changed are the ones that were the operating leases, where there was no ownership change, but you clearly had an obligation to pay something, a right to use that asset. So that's what changed.
No, that's okay.
And then certainly last Hood and Associates, she appreciates the opportunity to serve as an auditor for the city of Monett. I think the mayor, Kelly, Angie, and the staff, very professional in giving us information, good to work with, and they like it when we come and bother them.
We don't mind it at all.
Okay. But again, very professional. I think things went well. We've had, a number of entries which we, again, normally do as a part of us. It's one of those things, if we're helping doing the journal entries and converting from cash to accrual, then we don't consider that to be a deficiency in your internal controls, because they're providing us the information and they're knowing what journal entries need to be. It's when we find things that they didn't know or didn't find that are errors, that's when it becomes something that we need to report. But we still show the entries in our required communications to say that, okay, we're making a bunch of entries with the assistance of staff, and staff approves those entries, and they are needed to make the financial statements reporting in governmental accounting and standards. So that concludes my presentation on the draft financial statements. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
What's our, how long have you done the audit for the city?
I believe since 2017.
Do we have, is it an annual or a long-term, or what's our arrangement for?
Well, I think we went for 5 years, and then I think we've just been on a 1 year since then.
Well, so you got another 4 years?
No.
You're done?
We're done with the original contract. It's just been agreed upon. We do a 1 year.
1 year for.
So if you want to put it out for RFP,
no, I don't. I mean personally.
We've just have agreed to do a 1 year extension.
Every year.
That's what it's been on this one.
And one is, bear with me just a little bit. I'm going to be around for a while, so I may have questions for you, on the audit, on controls and that sort of thing. And so I wanted you to be available for this one, but I also wanted to know if we elect to continue, we just do a 1 year deal for another deal, is the way it's set up now.
That's
right?
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. If you want to sign up for 2,
No,
we can
and
do 2.
and the point is, you can't find auditors, and you want to do another one.
No, we do. Again, I think that's what the discussion has been. It's like I understand that it's been the government's basis to put this out for bids, and I just said, if you're going to put it out for bids, it's fine. I'm going to tell you that our bid coming back is going to probably be way more than you're paying now, and others will bid the same. I mean, it's just there's very little people in there.
The marketplace is bad for auditors. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, we still increase our fee.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, and it's realistic.
That question was not one.
No, I think I want to be honest with you. Yeah. I think if you feel like you're getting a good service and you're getting audited, I don't know, to me, it doesn't seem like it's a basis to change just because we bid every 5 years.
No.
That's just, you don't do that for other services. It's just kind of like, that's how governmental auditors have done. And before it used to be, the governments were kind of off-season, so they weren't they were trying to keep their staff busy, so they were bidding lower on government jobs than they would for other work. So the governmental auditing profession, as far as the fees, were so low compared to what others were for so many years, and now the profession is that, well, we can't get staff, so if we can't get staff, it's hard to go do work to keep staff busy that we don't have.
And my question was not to get into.
Oh, no, but I just wanted to be upfront, and I think this would be the way to have it, because this is new to both of you two.
Mine was, I'm going to be around, I need to get in contact with you because I want to have questions. The second thing is the auditing firm, you can't find auditors out there. I just wanted the commission to know that, and there's a lot of cities that are really struggling finding municipal government auditors right now, correct? That's,
Especially finding good, experienced auditors.
He he hadn't changed.
Well,
Yeah.
I've been around doing a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
audits, and
yeah.
there's a reason why, you know that. I'm not ashamed to say, we do a good job.
Yeah,
And each year is different. If we find something, you hired us to report it, and that's what we're gonna do.
and,
You
but
can't
I
improve
wanted you
unless
to be
you-
around.
I would say that from the situation the city's in now, that it would only make logical sense to keep the same firm around who has the institutional knowledge of how things work.
Don't want to change.
And assuming that you still think that we're doing a good job for the city, yeah.
And we've had change of staff and stuff.
Yeah, we changed staff, and we changed staff as well.
Yeah.
We get the fresh look.
I hope that was okay. I just,
Now I'm real bitter about it, so.
you're bitter.
Quit interrupting, no. So what do we need to do as far as to continue to, does the council need to do anything with that?
I think the deal on the deal is to accept the audit, and so that's a motion that you need to take. And then the second thing is just communicate that we're, subject, provide a price, but subject to that, we expect to use you again for another year for the upcoming budget year. I think my advice would be be very, and it's not because I knew him way back, it's just the situation we're in. We need to keep the existing, yeah. And,
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to do. I think we need to keep.
yeah, that's our intent, that's all. So,
And what I'll do is, we need to, so we have a representation letter that was signed, but since we're still, the date on that letter will change. So if you accept this today, then I'll change the dates to this, to when I get back. So I'll date it tomorrow, then I'll be able to release the reports. You'll be able to release those, we'll file those. I will prepare an engagement letter for next year's audit for you to review and discuss, and then you guys can vote on whether you want to accept that or go out for bids or whatever.
it's a lot
You
of work.
decide.
Yeah, and we're talking about next year's fiscal year, but it's a lot of, it's a lot of.
It's a pain in the, work to change auditors. Unless
He's
unless
got a
you're the
weird sense of
incumbent.
humor. I forgot how weird a sense of humor he is.
Weird, oh, you want me to be a typical accountant, not say anything?
Oh, no.
Some
So
stuff
you gotta
underneath
make
the
it,
door.
you gotta make it interesting, right? So,
Did you have some, I know that you had a few questions.
Yeah, I was the one that highlighted all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, and I was just reviewing it because Kelly gave us a deadline to have it approved,
Okay.
to be sent back to you, and I'm not gonna hold up the council today and everybody in here with all the stuff I highlighted. I'll reread and then make a phone conversation with you.
That's fine, absolutely.
I'd like to know what the questions are, though.
Yeah,
And what the responses are.
And if you guys want to
Okay,
do,
that's fair.
do
I
a
can report to the
team,
council what
do a team's
as we
meeting.
all can.
I guess you'd have to post it if there's two of you, right?
Right. And there was just some things that I just highlighted, and I found a lot of stuff was great as far as the city was a moneymaker, and things that we had done in the past that are positive, investment-wise, and percentages, and things like that. And I just highlighted it because I found it interesting.
Okay.
How well established the city was. Moving forward, we have an interim city administrator. About this time next year, I'm sure we'll have somebody in the seat. And we just hired a financial director. Is that the word?
Mhm.
So we'll have a new financial director moving forward for the next audit for you.
I noticed, did you find that the current cash fund balance was 8%? Or I saw that in the audit.
I think I have it.
Yeah.
Where did this go?
I took it from
Well, you can have it. I
Oh,
had
good.
one more piece of paper.
you.
I think the general fund
What I
balance,
did is I read.
Well, the
and
goal
highlighted
was 8%,
that I
but
just
it's,
thought was,
well, I don't know what,
good
it's,
idea to
it's
learn.
more than that.
He's got my copy of this, because you can
Just
see his
curious
highlights
what
and
it
exactly
is.
this one. So if y'all would like this copy, I'll run a copy at the office.
I just thought you had questions.
Yeah. No, I
Because it made reference to
what's
an
the
8%.
percentage payroll?
Well, I think for that, but I think some of the
Good.
things I had,
We mentioned earlier it's 80%. I'm like, that's not accurate.
No, it's somewhere, how much you paying for labor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
exactly. I just want to know what's a good number.
I think if you're looking at the fund balance, but I'm just, the general fund balance is really the one that you look at. And so the general fund balance was 63% of current year expenditures. So if you want to equate that to months, 6 months.
Is that less capital or just all?
That's just the general fund.
All operating, including capital?
No, it's just the general fund, so that would be.
No, yeah.
That would be just operating.
Operating, okay. Not capital inside the
Yeah,
capital.
I mean, if you spent some money on there, I mean, you spent, increase in recreation and cemetery increased $823,000 over the prior year.
So we're at 60%.
And you spent that on the capital outlay, the maintenance building.
Right.
Which is why that went up. Your sales taxes went up in the general fund. It wasn't because you got more sales tax monies, because you got a new sales tax. The use tax was most of the money. The other sales tax kind of actually went down a little bit.
But her fund balance is 60%.
But you paid off a TIF plan. I'm thinking you're gonna go get another TIF plan if I was reading the minutes right. You're gonna look at that.
Correct.
Is that pay as you go?
Yes.
Okay.
But our fund balance is 60%.
You're, on the side of the general fund only.
Yes.
And that's what you
That's
look
what
at.
you
That's
look
really,
at.
because those aren't restricted.
Was it a
All-
percentage? Was it a percentage? Others, million? What were you saying?
I'm saying,
To Jeff's question,
what was your
the
question?
The
question was,
question is, what is our, on that ending fund year, what was our percentage of operating costs for the general fund? And I thought you said 60%.
63%. That's what you have left over.
it is a percent.
That's what the fund balance. You got, over 6 months
Yeah, that, which is
of fund
healthy.
balance reserves, which is
Healthy.
policy. Some people would argue that's too much.
Too much, right.
The good part about the city is you don't do property taxes. So you can't, we're gonna update it, so you're not levying on property taxes, where that's when people start bitching about carrying too big a fund balance, when you start raising my property taxes up and you don't spend the money on the services. You don't have that problem. You've got the sales tax on the transportation fund. You got 3.4 million in there to be used for transportation. You got the park sales taxes, you got 1.2. Well, most of that money is going to pay off the debt service on the aquatic center,
Right.
which is real close to being paid off. The airport project funds, you spent 26 million. That's not done yet, based on stuff, huh?
What page is that?
Yes,
The airport fund would be page 50.
Airport?
Yeah, so
The larger document.
Okay, thank you.
the larger. So if you're looking at what you look at on a month-to-month basis, skip those first couple pages because those are government-wide
Right.
and shows, but if you go with page 15 and page 17, that's what you see. That's your budget.
Okay,
So those are the things to look at from your governmental funds.
okay.
And this is the stuff you receive from management to review. It just doesn't have the year-end entries. And then you look at page 19 and page, no, I'm sorry. Page 17 and 18 are utility funds, which is your water, electric, sewer. And it goes, those need to be run like a business. So what I don't recall, when's the last time you had a rate study? I think one was being done.
Correct. We're going to be engaging one right now
Right,
for
one's being done. I think that's what we talked about.
for water and sewer.
Okay, and so when you're looking at that, when it's gonna come back and says you need to raise your rates, you should raise your rates. You could be like other cities and say, we're not gonna do that, we can't do that to our citizens, and then all you're doing in my opinion, is you're putting the deferred maintenance down the line, and then when you're gonna really need some money, you're gonna have to raise your rates up so high. It's one of those, again, no one likes to raise the rates, but if you got the study, put that in, and then look and save, you know, put these monies and do that long-term goal. I'm sure you've got, you know, they had a long-term, 5-year capital plan. Update that, you know, all the things that you guys have been doing. So, I mean, just looking at the numbers, I think financially, you're pretty healthy.
Right.
Do you need, I mean, you can't plan ahead and some things will come up? Obviously, the answer is we gotta keep thinking, what do we need to do, you know? What's, you know, there's like, what's the cost of government? You've got two choices. You can raise taxes or what, do less services or some combination. It's not like you've got a whole bunch of different options. So, but that's what Jeff was gonna help you do, and so I'll leave it at that. But I'd be more than happy to get you up to speed on anything to go over these financials and some of those things that you've seen. Again, I think you've already looked at those. Do you want these copies?
Yeah, I'd like to have that. Thank you.
Or, no,
Thank you.
and then now, I don't know if you want to do a meeting, if I have the questions, I can go through, these probably answer some of the questions from an analytic going over here. I could decide, I don't know if you want to do one-on-one, if you want to do a meeting where you got so we don't have break sunshine law rules, however we want to do that, I'm all fine for going over that.
I'd like to, if you want to, we can go over it, because I'm wondering the same time you are.
Well, since 2017, you've been with the city of Monett? You said it earlier?
Pardon?
Since 2017, you've been on auditor?
I believe it was, I'd have to go back, I believe that was, yeah, maybe 18. So I was, so 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe 18 or 19. So it was 5 years, and then we had two, you know, one was COVID, kind of, it was like, it only made sense to go another one. And I think they were gonna go out to bid this last year, and then just, things didn't work out. And so, and it's just the name of the game, you know, that's how it happens. I mean, and some auditors have been with their cities for a long time, and others, they try their auditor for 1 year, don't like them. and they don't last 5 years.
That before?
But, you know, again, I've liked being the city of Monett's auditors. I think it's a good fit, and certainly we're good. It sounds like we're going to continue. But I think part of that is having you guys understand these, because it's important, because this is what you guys get paid the big bucks for and make all these great decisions.
It's really big bucks, let me tell you. It's really big bucks.
I know. But these are the important decisions that affect this community going forward, and you still have to, I would, you know, have the best information available to, you know, make those decisions. Then we'll look at 5 years from now and say whether they're good or not. That's what people do. It's kind of like what we'll have coming up, what, on the 5th?
The election.
We'll find out then.
Yeah.
That may change your
Huh?
budget. That may change your budget.
Yeah, there's a lot of things on that that we don't know, but I won't go any further down that road. Any other questions I might be able to answer?
I don't think so. I've read through it and we've talked, you know, right after the audit. So
Yeah.
I don't have any issue with it.
Yeah, and if you got questions throughout the year, I mean, it's much easier to talk about those than, so I can be prepared for them. You know,
Sure.
like
Right.
Next year, we got the leases coming in. There's gonna be some significant changes and probably some additional work that will need to be done. Jeff will get it all.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
All right, so the next step for the city council, you want to ask questions
No.
Do you want any
No,
more?
I don't have any questions.
I mean,
Need a motion to accept the audit as
Yeah,
presented
what I
and
think.
then accepted, if you would do that.
Okay,
got any motions?
okay. I make a motion that we accept the audit.
No, second?
Roll call.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren Indemina.
Aye.
When we start next week, seems like this just goes so fast.
Open your luck, buddy.
Nice work, Kelly.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get paid first. At least we can still have fun. Hey, it's, looking forward to working with you again, sir. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We have one more item on the agenda.
Yep.
If you got questions, you want to suck on the side, that's fine too.
Yes,
But
sir. No, I just,
everyone good.
I'm glad to see that the city is well-balanced as you presented it out to be, personally.
Yeah, I think when you look at and go look at the numbers and compare it to others, right now.
Right.
So,
All right, thanks, Michael, appreciate it.
you bet. I'll quiz you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna call you in a week and quiz you.
All right, please.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, so let me know if you can. And
Grab
then
some
we'll get
cookies
some
on your way
final
out.
ones.
Grab some cookies on your way out.
The whole bag?
Oh, yes, yes, on a box, yes.
All right, we have
Thank
one
you
more
very
item
much.
here.
Thanks, appreciate it. Take care, guys. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
What else we got to talk about?
Resolution 9028, if you want to hang around.
I believe it should pass. I don't know what it is.
I agree.
We should have a discussion.
No, we should not.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and read the line item, Kelly.
Okay, a resolution approving the donation of land to Missouri Department of Transportation, MoDOT, for the construction of the Highway 60 and Highway 97 roundabout project.
Okay, we have any motions?
I'll move that we approve bill number 9028.
A second.
Roll, discussion? I'll just summarize this, we're talking 1,108 square feet. Is that about a mobile home's worth? And this is for construction of the intersection of Highway 60 and 97.
Right.
All right, any other discussion? All right, call the roll, please.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren Indemina.
Aye.
All right, so our next meeting is going to be at 4 o'clock next Tuesday. I can't think of the date off my head.
29th.
Is that the 29th? It's not Halloween though, right?
No.
All right, good. So that will be our next meeting, 4 o'clock, City Hall on October 29th. And the next regular city council meeting will be Thursday, November 14th at 5. This is 5 rather than 6 because there is a presentation hearing out here at the casino concerning some of our flood mitigation. And that's by the federal agency, NRCS.
Right.
Okay.
The Kelly Creek watershed. And it's going to make a presentation. 4 p.m. Tuesday, 10/29.
All right. Entertaining the motions to adjourn.
I'll second.
I'll second that we adjourn. Roll call.
Mayor Randy Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren Indemina.
Aye.